is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That is your boy Joe over here, Rim.
Oh,
no, he's not involved.
No,
okay.
hey, no,
I guess he's not involved in the show no more. I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to find their way on over. We have a couple of OGs. Shout out to Darwin, who's doing the disco dance there. We got Matthew Booth. Joe's got an account now, baby. Joe W is the account, so we're gonna be getting to Joe in a hot second there once his mic is dealt with. We got Adara, Botrix, Juan, Alejandro Castillo, and Pitchbull. We got Yannick, not that Yannick, not Sweater Yannick. We got a different Yannick. We got Robbie V and Barry, a proper dang paradox. Shout out to Enrag. We got Vic Yan, Novak, and Black Sheep Trades, Jeremy Newman, the beautiful Gate. Picky Eater, as well as Damn. Enjoy the fun with Josie. Yes, I do like that name. Bedford or Betstone Burrell. We got Gorev, we got Fiddlebeck, we got Greystone, ABC Premium, as well as Italian Honeybees. I like that. The Katina Man likes that too. So we're gonna, yeah, he likes that. San Vincent, bruh. We got D-Loaf, Ichiban Hedger. I like that. Very technically based. Okay. We got T-Money. We got Daryl Brandit, Zion Lala, and Stephanie's Journey, Rogelio Concepcion, and the suppliers delivered. Too many names to list. Joe, what's up, man?
Hey, man, we're just working on some things. How you doing today?
Good, yourself, man?
Good, brother. We're good. We're ready to rock and roll. We're excited to talk to you guys today. So, yeah, we're just looking at some stuff. What are you looking at today, bro?
You know how I love my small caps, man. Come on.
King,
Neil starts yelling about Indo. You know what I mean? There's other names. We're looking at those. We got a great lesson. We got a level 2. We're continuing on that today. But anything you want to cover before we jump into the lesson?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of things I want to cover here. And it's me looking at Nvidia. We're in some Nvidia here right now. And it's starting to slowly pull back. We're looking for a move up to VWAP, but there's one thing that I really wanted to cover from a technical standpoint, and that's something on a daily perspective on Tesla. And I'm a Tesla bull. I like Elon. He's a really good guy. He's always into a bunch of different things. But there's one specific thing that I want to pull up here on Tesla, and that's this pivot here. I'm looking for Tesla to break 270 in the near future. Unfortunately, we've had this massive sell day, and we've had a pretty strong move up here. But eventually, in the near future, I'm looking for Tesla to break this 270, and we continue to the top side and even go higher, Sharif. That was my good look for the day.
I love it, man. I just want to let everybody know, guys, that Neil drops hot lines at 12 o'clock. We know that that's his lesson of the day. Right after Neil, though, baby, we're going to have my main man, Adam Delo, right up on this desk. He's going to take over for 10 minutes from Joe. We're going to be talking about algos, guys. Adam has an algo company, a trading company, so he's well-versed in the subject matter. If you want to know more about algos, just like you want to know more about options with my man Joe, you will join Adam and I at 12:10, 12:15 once Neil is seized dropping hot lines. So shout out to Neil, shout out to Adam. All right, guys, let's get to the lesson of the day because we got no time to spare. We are talking about level 2 all week. Yesterday, we kind of introduced the subject matter, Ram. Today, we're going to get more nuanced with it as we always do. So we're going to talk about how to identify areas of support and resistance using level 2. It's easy to do that in the chart. You just need to look at where the candles are finding a base and finding a top. We're going to talk about do that exact same thing, obviously a little bit differently, in a different way with level 2. So let's get right to it. So traders, welcome back. Yesterday, we explored the intricacies of the order book. Now let's leverage that knowledge and identify dynamic support and resistance zones using level 2. So what are we talking about here? Let's introduce the subject matter very briefly, as we always do. Traditionally, these support and resistance zone lines are drawn in a chart based on historical price action. However, the order book offers real-time, not past, real-time insights into where these zones might be forming or where they might be shifting to. So this is kind of what we're talking about here. Look at this. So we've got 175.15, you've definitely got a big order size there relative to where the other lots that are showing up on different levels, okay? So look at this. So potential support, 175-ish. Let's look over here. right? So this is kind of what it's showing us. It's showing us support at around 175. Now, what's the other side of the coin? It's showing us resistance at around 175.60, essentially to 175 and a third, a little bit bigger of a resistance level. And so that's how it kind of would be depicted there. So you'd have it depicted here on the book in this way, and generally, most likely, it would look something along the lines of that. So the order book depth as a lifeline, what do we mean by that? So we're looking for areas with significant order volume on either side of the book. So a high bid depth, this is what we call level 2 support, high bid depth. What this is a cluster of bids at a specific price level, indicating that there is buying pressure that can potentially hold up the price from falling further. This area becomes a potential zone. And you heard me talk about this yesterday ever so briefly when I mentioned big size moving up the bid with you. If you are long, what you're looking for is a big order below the area you're long or below the current price action. Why? Because if the price action were to dip, you're looking to that big buyer to prevent the price from falling any further. This is what we call high bid depth, and it is a form of support on the level 2. Exact opposite is true. High ask depth, right? This is what we call resistance. It's a concentration of asks at a price level, indicating selling pressure that can, stall or reverse the price advance. This area becomes the potential resistance zone. And here's what we're looking at, right? Look at the amount of orders on the 529 from $5.29 all the way to 531. Juxtapose that to the size we have at 32, 33, and 34. There is no comparison. So we know there is big boy buying at that 5 1/3, whether you like it or not. That's exactly what is showing up there. Now, what we don't have, Joe, is that deeper look. What's the size at the 540s or 550s? Obviously that's beyond the scope here, but this is what I want to show you. There is obviously an imbalance of buy orders on the left side of that level 2 than there is on the right side. So this is what we call high bid depth. Opposite is true as well, baby. Look at this. These are screen captures, they're not live, but I needed this to kind of show the imbalance over here. So we're talking about a two penny stock on this side. So you have likely bigger orders waiting because of the price. The Katina Man says the market is tanking. And it is. I'm looking at it. Shout out to the Katina Man. All right, so look at this. At 203, you've basically got 1.8 pennies up to 2.03. And then over here, you've got basically 2.06 up into 2.7. Look at the order imbalance on the size of the ask. 770,000 shares on one gateway, baby, at that 2.1 penny level. And there's another 200,000 waiting there. And then look, there's another almost 202,000. So you guys get it, right? This is what we call high ask depth. And it is a form of resistance. Now, the art of the order book whispers. Obviously, we're making these titles for giggles, but the idea is sound. So the order book shifts. This is when we talk about a sudden increase, in bids or asks, works both ways at a particular level, which can foreshadow a support or resistance forming there in the distant or in the very close future. What I mean to say. And the order book vacuums as well. And I want to stress these are noticeable absences of orders, whether bid or ask, at a price level, which can indicate to the person using it a potential breakout zone, right? If it's below a current support level, for example, there might be buyers waiting to step in. Conversely, a vacuum above resistance suggests less resistance for a potential price surge. So what I mean by that, let's go back over here. So if this was, let's just pretend these are more levels, 2.4, 2.5, 2.7. If there is very little size on these subsequent price levels on the ask than there was on these areas over here, that means if these sellers get taken out by an exuberant buyer, there's likely nothing to prevent the buyers from pushing up the price if the main sellers are at this price level right here at 2.1, 2.2, 2.35. Once those bad boys are gone, unless there is another lot of big sellers, the price will usually gap up. And that's what we're talking about, of an order book vacuum, okay? Where you have a lot of concentrated, either buy orders or sell orders, works both ways. But then after that or below that, there seems to be nothing. That is usually a bit of a vacuum there. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Yeah, great stuff here. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic stuff. And just to touch on what Sharif is saying and what we went on through yesterday is you can see the different imbalances on the level 2. And that's why we like to use quote highlights. So as Sharif was showing you guys, you highlight those orders so that you can see the specific imbalance on the level 2. And Honcho Trade had a great question in there, so hopefully I can answer it the best I can here. So how do I journal, he essentially asked me. Well, what you can do to start journaling is I like to divide my session up into parts. So I have 9:30 till 11, 11 to 2, and then 2 in the close. So then now you have these 3 sections of your journaling that you can add, and then now you build sample sets of the trades. Okay, what am I more proficient in? Am I more proficient in 9:30 to 11, 11 to 2, and 2, and so on? So that's just one way you can look into journaling your trades. Make sure you're looking for the identical setup so that you can collect relative data and so that everything kind of looks the same. You're not taking trades all over the place and just punching keys to punch keys. So if you divide everything up, that way everything can be organized, and then now you know where you're more efficient at the end of the day.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah. And feel free to add color whenever you want, because I feel like you have excellent insights, man. So I appreciate that, Joe. Let's go on to the next topic. Confirmation, though, is key. So while the order book provides these valuable clues that we're all looking for, it's certainly not a crystal ball. Here's how to add weight to your analysis. First and foremost, price action confirmation. What do we mean by that? So in this specific case, what we're looking for, the price to actually touch or stall near the identified support and resistance zones on the chart. This validates the order book signal. So what do I mean by that? So you see that monster seller at 200, like before Apple broke 200, okay? That monster seller at 200, let's call it Amazon, because Amazon still hasn't broken 200 post-split. And you see a huge wall of selling right there. But then the price moves right up to it, and, well, it just blows through that 200. Well, what happened there? Well, clearly there was a hidden buyer, or the buyer stepped in de novo, meaning they didn't post their buy orders on the exchange, so they were unknown of until the price reached that 200. So what you're looking for is, yes, you've identified that support and resistance zone on the level 2. You feel you have a good level, but the price action absolutely disrespects that. Well, what happened there? Well, basically, just the story that I just told you. Either, it was a hidden order at those levels, or the buyers came in anew once we ascended into that price level. So keep that in mind. Price action confirmation with the identified SNR zones in level 2. The other one is technical indicators. You can use indicators like these moving averages, RSI, the relative strength indicator, to gauge overall price momentum and the potential trend reversals around these zones. So what do I mean by that? So you're looking for potentially a resistance level, 200 on Amazon. All right, fantastic. The level 2 is showing you that there's a big seller there. The price action on the chart is showing you that we've rejected on 200 in the past. All that's great. But what do the moving averages show you? Are we oversold on the RSI once we get into that 200? Are they helping your cause? In essentially is what I'm trying to say, in basically saying, yes, that 200 zone is a level of resistance. So you're always trying to add more weight. Remember, Adair used to say this all the time, the balance of the dang evidence. Where is it pointing? So that's what I want to say then.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Great stuff.
Dynamic adaptations as well, Joe. So these are what we call order book fluctuations. What happens here? So remember, the order book is fluid, right? Levels can change rapidly. Be prepared to adjust your support and resistance zones based on real-time order book movements. They are dynamic, not static tools. And there's also the impact a news catalyst can have, especially intraday on these levels of support and resistance that you've identified on level 2. So news can dramatically alter those levels. For example, positive news might elevate the support zones or weaken those resistance zones. So even though you've earmarked good levels, you may have confirmation with the technicals, and news catalysts can throw you a curveball. You need to be ready for that. And here's a little bit of an advanced tip on an indicator we haven't used too often on this show, Joe, the time-weighted average price, TWAP, baby, not VWAP, but TWAP.
Wow.
Yeah, these are TWAP orders. These are sophisticated orders that aim to buy or sell certain amount of stock at an average price over a specified time frame. At an average price over a specified time frame. So you're looking for these large TWAP orders on the buy side near support or on the sell side near resistance. It suggests institutional interest, maybe potentially aligning with your identified support and resistance zone. So, not the most thorough, lesson with respect to the intricacies of level 2, but, just enough for the show, get everybody's beak wet a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff, Sharif. Absolutely great stuff. So make sure you guys got your pen and paper down and you're taking notes, because he's just feeding you guys gold. But there's absolutely one thing I want to touch on from a risk to reward standpoint.
Adara. Yeah.
We're going to Adara.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll be back. No, that's all right. We're going to Adara first. And it's Fabian.
SPY at another bottom here. We do have some now reports here coming from an official, it looks like in the U.S., saying the U.S. is now expecting Iran to strike Israel in the next few hours with high-speed missiles. That is being reported here by Axios. Again, Axios giving a lot of the details here at this event. So let's see if S&P 500 could make a bottom here, down about 1.3%. Near lows. Let's see what comes next here as we continue to get updates in this situation.
I just love one day without people getting blown up. It'd be nice.
Hey.
One day. Can we get a day off?
Just a day off.
Just a day off.
Yeah, just one day off. That's all we need.
You were about to drop hotline.
Yeah. Me and Fabian we were just working on something here, but I just want to touch on something here quickly on this. My first trade on Nvidia. So as you can see, I punched out. I got stopped out, and that's totally acceptable. But from a game plan and RVR percentage, what we're looking for is here. This is my out, right? Why I got out of this trade is that you can see from a volume standpoint that we are pulling back towards view up. I was looking for it, but there was no buying volume in order to sustain the push. And with that, that tells me, hey, this is a really weak pullback, and we may not go to the top side. Are we back? We're back to Adara.
Get it, Adara.
We'll get back. We're back to Adara.
Lots of news in this market. Nvidia getting a pretty steep volume increase to the downside here. We have Ming-Chi Kuo. This is that analyst that covers a lot of Apple supply chain related issues, making a new post saying that Nvidia is halting the development of its GB200 GPUs, saying that he still sees some long-term positivity in AI and Nvidia specifically, but, quote, frequent product plan changes likely softening short-term trading sentiment. So seeing Nvidia as maybe a little bit more bearish short-term, bringing the market to the downside again. NVDA pushing lower with volume on Ming-Chi Kuo comments, guys.
And Adara, sorry, Joe.
No, and we're back. No, we love it. We need those inputs right away.
Yeah, for sure.
We absolutely need those. It's absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, just to touch back onto what I was saying previously before and why it's so important to stop out of your trades when you're supposed to. I had a definitive risk level. I was going to risk the low. Why was I in this trade? We have volume price analysis signals here. So this can indicate to me that we're going to go potentially to the top side. So I did exactly that. I took some size and we continued to the top side here. Considering that I was almost at a 2-to-1 risk to reward, and this came back against me, I'm not going to take a full stop out. So that's really important in the longevity of when you're trading. Oh. Hey, no, that's all right.
They're messing with you.
It's all right. It's all right.
Stop bullying him, Ram.
So there we are, over there. So, no, again, so this is why it's so important to stop out of your trades, guys, right? You want to get out. You don't want to hold on to these losers. And look what exactly happened after I punched out. The market decided to drag a little bit lower. And that's okay. We're going to wait. We're going to wait for the potential setup again. Maybe it just wanted to grab more liquidity and then move to the top side. But this is a prime example of when you have a profitable trade and it comes against you, you want to stop out early. So if you're looking for a 2-to-1 and you're at a 1.5-to-1, maybe cut that trade at break even, right? You don't want a really big winning trade to turn into a loser. And that's why we cut out of this trade. We're ready to punch again, and it's looking like there might be a potential opportunity here, and we're going to take advantage of it, Sharif.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, Adara.
Back to it.
Get it, Adara.
We're back.
First segment of the day here, we're going to have the sector board up. This is a segment I do in the afternoon as well, where we take a look at some of the larger movers in the S&P 500 to both the upside and the downside here. So just waiting for that sector board. I know Lockheed Martin, LMT on watch here, as well as NOC. These pushing basically the high of days as the rest of the market falls down due to what's going on, of course, with the war. So some of these military defensive stocks pretty strong here today, that is for sure. Just waiting on that green screen here, but LMT certainly on watch, as is NOC. A lot of these are definitely going to be more to the downside. We also have Dell a little bit weaker here. Michael Dell selling about $1.2 billion worth of shares. They also announced an offering. And then last but not least, we also have Apple to talk about here, AAPL. This one having some negative notes from Barclays with regards to its production. Also, Apple being negatively impacted there by the dock workers strike. This does impact the East Coast, so some speculation Apple could be impacted heading into the holiday season, along with a lot of retailers. Lots of catalysts bringing some of these stocks to the downside, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not something that I actually thought about. Well said there, Dare. I didn't even put that two and two together. The dock strike is basically anybody with a hard good is going to be in trouble here.
Yeah, a lot of trouble. Yeah,
45,000 workers. It ain't no joke, bro.
No, it's no joke. It's no joke. So I know we had shipping problems a couple of years ago when everything got stuck in that
COVID
in that channel there. I forget which one it was.
Yeah, man. The what are the shipping containers were like sitting in the.
So it was just chaos, and there was a part of inflation too that I guess threw a flame under that. So there's those types of things. Right now we're in some Apple. We're looking on the identical setup as that we just did on Nvidia. Unfortunately, it's not showing up on the screen just yet for you guys, but as you can see, we're looking for the same pattern on Apple. This thing's already down 3.5% on the day, so maybe we pull back towards VWAP. As you can see, it's kind of hugging price pretty tight here, so who knows, maybe the market makers or whoever wants to keep this price a little bit lower. I don't know why it's not. Here we are. Here's the daily. And yeah, so again, we were just not too shy off all-time highs on Apple. So we're looking for things to break like I was looking for in Tesla. And now we're going to look for a push up to VWAP here on Apple, which seems to be working out pretty well here. But we're not going to hold on to these things. We have a definitive out. As you can see, we have a potential double bottom on the 1 minute. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking to play the bounce off of this level. And we're going to keep our risks tight. The market is really weak. So if the longs aren't there, don't force it. We don't want to force the longs on, especially on days today. We had job openings at 10, is it? Oh, so yeah, those already passed. So that can add some weakness into the market. So again, just don't fight the trend. If the trend is down, make sure you have definitive ins and outs on your trades. If you are going to counter trend, make sure that you have your definitive out, right? And make sure that you're just not punching keys. Just have a trade plan, build your sample sets. Like the question from before was, how do you journal? Well, if you build large enough sample sets, then you can know when your entries are going to be a little bit more precise and maybe not. So those are things that we're looking for. And as Apple continues to work here, we want to also make the trade a little bit bigger in size. So we're going to look to add to this position as well too, Sharif.
All right, before we send it to Adara, guys, I'm getting this. Shout out to Darwin, the OG. Analyst Ming Chi Kuo says Nvidia halt. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry, Adara. Was this what you're... Adara, get it. Take it, Adara. All right, so I'll go on with it here. Analyst Ming Chi Kuo says Nvidia halting development of GB200. That's their basically Blackwell, which is the two there because they're dual, right? You don't get them just singles. The GB is the dual. Yeah, there you go. Dual rack versions. Long-term AI and Nvidia trends remaining positive but frequent production plan changes, likely softening short-term trading sentiment. Again, Ming Chi Kuo, the same dude who talks about, Apple with weak demand. I'm pretty sure that's the same analyst, so shout out to that. That is being reported by Medium.com and citing Ming Chi Kuo's, I believe, a Twitter or X. So interesting there. Keeping an eye on Nvidia. Nvidia's already down. I don't really see a real reaction to it at the moment because that headline came in exactly 11:22. Basically saw at the same time as you, Darwin. Shout out to you again. Thank you for bringing us that. Adara also had it. Shout out to Adara. And this is the look on Nvidia. I think we bottoming tail dipped into 116.20, got bought up, breaching 117. Now let's see how the market reacts. In any event, we have been awfully respectful, Joe, of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 today with Nvidia. There has been no breach. Every single retracement into the 10 exponential has sold off. So that is the real deal right now. We're going to keep an eye out on that because this is kind of bizarre. You got to wonder, this is a supply problem here because all we kept hearing was demand for Blackwells through the roof, demand for Blackwells through the roof. So it's got to be some sort of production issue.
Something along those production.
Well, basically, they're taking all of TSMC's output.
Yeah.
Like, and AMD can't get their hands on any chips because Nvidia is basically bullying Taiwan Semi into making their chips first. You know what I mean? So that's a bit of a
when you got the cat, money talks, right?
Money talks, bro.
So when you're Nvidia, you can pretty much do anything you want, right? So that's what happens when you have that type of cash flow coming in, and especially the demand, right? These Blackwell chips are supposed to be going for around $40,000, I think, around. Something like those lines.
And the duel's going to be double that.
Yeah, so which is absolutely insane cash flow wise. You got big people like Meta and all these guys buying out abundance in these chips. So that's just going to add to Nvidia's revenue, and that's absolutely insane. We have Apple here that's working pretty good for us right now. The stock's pretty much down 3.5%. And I was talking about Apple the other day when you have these strong stocks and they're down this much, just be patient, hold your horses, right? Pack your patience and wait for the potential for these stocks to absolutely rebound. We have tech, which is sold pretty heavy, but you know what's really banging today, Sharif? The ADRs, the Chinese ADRs. BABA is up 2.7% today, which is absolutely insane. I thought these things were totally overbought and needed somewhat of a breath. But it doesn't matter. These things just want to continue to move to the top side, so we're not going to fight it, right? That's just something that you're going to hear me continuously say. We're going to go with the flow at all times. So as Apple works here, we're going to continue to go with the flow. If we break this 225.51 level, we're going to add into this position. We should have added around 225, but that's okay. There's always going to be another opportunity, especially if we pull back towards VWAP here. So we're going to look to take advantage of that, absolutely. So make sure if you guys have any questions for me about options or anything about what's going on today, say, how do I journal? How can I improve my trading, Joe? Sharif and I are here. We're going to do our best that we can to answer those questions. But again, throw the options questions my way. I love it. I get long in the tooth when we start talking about options. So please send them my way if you guys have any questions, Sharif.
Love it. And just to remind everybody, Joe is now taggable in that chat, baby, at Joe W. Just throw up a message, Joe, so everybody can see it super quick. Joe now taggable in the chat. Thank you, Ram, for that. All right, guys, I'm long here on EONR. This is trading on the Amex network. On the Amex, it is a pink sheet name. I'm in here because it is at the volume weighted average price. I don't necessarily like the breach of VWAP because it did wick below the volume weighted average price, but it was quick to get bought up at this level. Stop is in place. I'm looking for a general area hold here. Now, it's not just VWAP that I like at this level. No, we have a 3 candle on the 5, so 15-minute consolidation or top in and around this $1.50, $1.45 area. That is, of course, until we had the biggest volume candle on the day come in at 11:05 and take us north. So I want to see, do we get continuation on this? We're at a level that I like. I like these pullback levels into predictable areas. So we'll see if we can curl back up off here. $1.73 is the high of day on EONR. And here are the deets. $8.3 million market cap, so very small. It's traded 19.3 million shares on the day. Good luck. That's a good amount. 1.7 million share float. Bless you, Fabian.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's yeah, man.
That's Fabian. That's Fabian up there, season of the storm. Man.
He took away from Aaron.
He's blessed.
So ENOR, Joe, negligible short float over here, 0.73. 40% of that 1.7 million shares is shorted. It's holding up here. I like the look on this rounded candle. I'm going to be looking to wet my beak on some profits. Ideally, again, this may change if the price action changes, but I want that $1.70 love right there to test those high days. I wouldn't be so callous as to presume that I know a high day break is going to get taken out. So to put it at that $1.75, hence why I'm going to front run the higher day for some profits here. That again, all predicated upon it holding this level and continuing up my way. INDO, Joe, as well. This is a name that I know from prior small cap trading. Indonesian Energy, I believe is the name. Indonesian Energy. Again, small cap stock, guys, 40 million. That's with the latest pump up here. And it's traded a beautiful 68.5 million shares. I know Neil was talking about this. I'll just tell you super quick, 4.7 and change million share float. And I'll just want to remind you of the short float because it's bigger, 5.25% here on INDO. So not the biggest we've ever seen, but certainly, not bad. It's not
good stuff. Yeah, some great stuff. So, hey, shout out Willis Addison. Thanks for the super chat there. PDD calls the one. What do you buy? The 140 or strike at 135. The 135 calls. Right on, brother. Keep on rocking. Those things are absolutely buzzing. The Chinese ADRs are actually flying to the top side, so that's good stuff. Keep putting on those wicked trades. We're just here in Apple. We took a little bit off the top, and we're looking to continue this trade back towards VWAP. We're not going to hold this against us, so now we're at break even. We've locked in some profit. We got about 60% of our position left, so we're going to hold on to that. We have this definitive bottom here, this support. We really, really like that. So, yeah, we're going to keep looking at the Chinese ADRs. We're going to maybe look to join this trend here on that as well, too. PDD is absolutely roaring to the top side. Wow. As well as BABA. This thing's up 2.8% on the day. This is what we like to see. I mean, these can keep going higher. This Chinese stimulus, these stocks have been absolutely decimated over the past couple of years. So grabbing these at the bottom and before China did their 50 basis point rate cut is absolutely fantastic if you got a good entry on those. And these things can, like I was just previously saying, these things can continuously go higher and higher and higher. They've been decimated. They're still fundamentally good companies. It's just so hard. Wall Street really doesn't like investing too much in China, I don't think, Sharif. Sometimes, especially when they're in some economic troubles. And it took them so long to recover from COVID and everything like that. So when you have those type of issues, I mean, you want to buy good stocks when they're absolutely depleted. Are these ADRs, BABA, PDD, and Billy, are they ones to buy? Yeah, sure. If that's your risk tolerance, absolutely. There's one thing that I would like to point out on them, and one thing that you need to keep out, and why I wouldn't trade these from a credit spread perspective, is that these gap ups, it's just day after day you're getting these gap ups in the price, and that can be extremely dangerous because when you're trading options, you are susceptible to pre and post market action, right? So when you have these gap ups, you can't do anything. You're stuck in your position. So if you're on the wrong side of the trade, then hey, you're not looking too pretty. It might be a little bit of a scary thing. So avoid the ADRs if you're playing credit spreads. If you're playing directional options, absolutely take them because they've been buzzing and they'll continue to buzz, Sharif.
INDO is just going, man. It just took out the top at 4 there. Wow, INDO. Looks like I might have chosen the wrong one. I'm in EONR. INDO is the one that is going. EONR is dropping down. If it breaks a third, I'm gone, and here we go. So this is going to be it's going to be a bit of a tough one for me here if this one breaks below the third of a dollar. So we chose the wrong one. We'll see if that ends up holding up or not, but I definitely want to keep an eye on INDO. Now that it's cleared 4, I'd like to see if it can get above 4 by some distance and then possibly come back into 4, or not even 4, to be honest with you. 390. I hear you, bro. I'm just in the middle of my analysis. So 390 right there, that's the level that I want to be able to possibly get a dip trade off. Now we're about 20 pennies a bit higher than that level. So fine. Fantastic. The level initially looked to be 4, but we did have multiple rejections off that 390 area. So I want to see if we can get into this one as well. I don't think it's far enough away from 4 or 390 for me to be like, it's cleared it by some distance. It's going to hold this level. We're going to have to wait and see. I want to be able to get in on some of these small cappers today, possibly take advantage of some of the momentum. But right now, EONR, making me look like a dang fool for getting, we're going to have to keep an eye on this one. 6 more pennies, Joe, and we're gone on this one. But I'm keeping my eye on INDO, knowing that this has had a history of making those big moves. I promised Rohit that I'd look at Boeing, and I absolutely will. Obviously, we know that they are suffering, sadly, through a machinist strike, which is obviously hampering their output. So Boeing, let's start with a wider time frame and have a look at the, well, there you go. Look, to be quite honest with you, it looks like a very respectful daily resistance of the 10 exponential moving average, which is the green line. Okay, so even though you get intraday wicks, the majority. How about all? How about every single one since the 3rd of September has closed below the 10 exponential? So I would venture a guess that you should be basing something here on the 10 exponential, knowing full well that you can get pushed out because you do have these intraday breaches. Now let's look at the 5-minute. So we're on an uptrend. Fantastic. Now let's see what yesterday's resistance level is. Okay, so the low, that's the pre-market. Okay, fantastic. What do we got over here? Look at the IB low from yesterday, right at 154.50. Interesting stuff. Well, where are we at? 154.29. Okay, good to know. All right, so that goes on my alert right there. I'm going to front run it in the 40s now, knowing full well that this could be the top. Right, we don't have to get into that 50 penny level, right? This could be the top on Boeing. I'm bearish on Boeing personally, but the price action today is saying up, but I want to see what it does with yesterday's IB low, Joe.
Ooh, and that, you know what, Sri, that's actually funny that we're talking about Boeing right now, because that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. I feel like this company cannot get out of its own way for some reason. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but it has next to no competition. Who is its competition? Airbus?
Airbus, yeah.
Airbus. And why are you depleting? Why can't you get out of your own way? So that's really frustrating, especially if you have no competition. And like with a stock like we were talking, like Nike and how it has marketing competitors and all these types of things, all these other companies in its way are taking its market share. Boeing has next to Airbus. Airbus is its only worry, and for some reason the company cannot get out of its own way, and we don't know why, because like, we all fly somewhere. People like to travel, and they're the most popular airplane. So I don't get it. So well, I think the CEO resigns soon. I think he's done. Maybe at the end of the year. So maybe they can get their things together and rebound the stock. Because
what did you say, Ram? She says she doesn't know if she's flying with Boeing soon.
She's flying with Boeing, so she may be taking, was it 737 MAX maybe?
Or she could be taking a flight into the Atlantic.
But you know what I noticed? Last time my girlfriend and I traveled, we were on an Airbus. And I think I like Airbus a little bit more. So watch out, Boeing. But other than, in all seriousness, it should be a good company. It has no competitors other than Airbus itself. People need to fly. Business people need to fly. They're in the military. They're doing a bunch of things. So as soon as Boeing gets out of their own way and these guys start reporting a couple solid quarters, that'd be a stock I'd be looking to buy for the long term. Absolutely.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more, man. I think Neil brings up a really good point. He said this before. I don't know if he said it about Boeing. By the way, I got stopped out of EONR. EONR. Neil, he brought up a good point with respect to airlines. I don't know if he said this about Boeing, but he's like, they're becoming utility companies where it's like, we can't live without them, but they don't seem to have good customer service or be able to turn anything.
Well, how long if you call someone, how long are you online for before you talk to a human being?
Oh, it's a hot minute. It's a hot minute. Don't even get me started when we get to the airport and the delays. And then, like, dude, you can pay for business class, you can pay for upgrade economy. You're still gonna get treated a certain type of way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
Yeah, and these airline. Okay, so we're switching a little bit from Boeing to airline carriers, but I want to say that there is a premium to be paid with these airlines, Joe, that really go out of their way to make your life better. I.e. Delta, i.e. Porter. So Delta, if you're delayed, they'll throw money at you. But like, here's a $50 voucher. Go get yourself, I don't know,
a drink or an airport drink.
The other guys will throw $10 at you. You know what I mean?
No,
if you're overnight.
So, and weren't people getting? I mean, they were canceling flights left, right, and center after that system crash. last year that happened, and they didn't want to give anybody their money back. So it's like, hey, what's going on here? You guys are charging a ridiculous amount for flights. But anyways, back to the stock market. We took a little bit more off the top. I think we're going to Adara. Yep. She's got some breaking news.
Get it, Adara.
Yeah, we're going to have an earnings segment here quickly as well, just so you guys know. Fed's Cook speaking right now as we get the market pushing higher despite, again, ongoing situations here with Lebanon and Israel. SPY right now, though, again, pushing higher. We did a Fed's Cook saying that AI could be disinflationary in the long run. Some comments on AI. The big thing to note here, though, Fed's Cook also saying inflation is not at target, but has come down substantially. So after a series of dovish comments yesterday, we get some more dovishness from Fed's Cook. Again, we have Fed's Bostic also apparently supposed to be speaking right now, and even more Fed speak to come later today with Bostic, Barkin, and Collins. Now, in terms of our earnings segment, we're going to take a look at one earnings name from pre-market. That was Paychex, P-A-Y-X. Sorry, this one near days highs here, up about 4 1/3%. They beat here for adjusted earnings per share. Maintained their guidance, though. They said apparently they adjusted some things, but it was mostly maintained. Sales were a bit in line, so a bit of a mixed report, but that adjusted EPS beat, setting this one to the upside. Now, in terms of earnings after the close, of course, the main thing to talk about here is Nike, NKE. We know this one has a new CEO named Elliott Hill, supposed to be taking over, I think, October 14th. So this is certainly something to note. Analysts are looking for a revenue of $11.64 billion. Consensus estimate here of 51 cents per share for its EPS. Also worth noting here, Nike last time moved down by 20%. Implied mood for Nike today, 7.1%. Also in this consumer kind of space, we have Lamb Weston and Conagra brands to be aware of here. So LW and CAG, other earnings after the close and before the open tomorrow, respectively. But Nike, basically the main thing to look at here, guys.
Aaron Lee.
Appreciate you. Appreciate that, Adara. What do you think about Nike coming up, man?
Hey, we got Nike tomorrow. And we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah?
So we'll see. They got the new CEO coming into play, so let's see if they can start getting their act together.
Is Nike your go-to clothing for gym?
You know what? I'm a Gymshark guy now.
Okay.
Well, Sharif, you know what it is? Nike used to be good. You have the Nike outlets and stuff like that, but I feel like they kind of drifted toward of a luxury kind of outlet, right?
A little bit.
So I like Gymshark. Everybody likes Gymshark. So we're Gymshark people as of now. So hopefully Nike will cut some prices and maybe we'll get back on the Nike train.
I gotta agree, man. Like, I mean, when did Nike become this premium brand?
Right.
Like a Lululemon style. Like, if I go that tech fleece, how much is that tech fleece gonna cost you from top and bottom?
That's a $400 setup.
Exactly.
Right there, right? Which is absolutely, or you can go to Gymshark and buy a sweater for $40 and some sweatpants, right? And still look equally good. Good quality stuff. Yeah. What do you?
Fabian, what were you saying to me in my ear? I couldn't hear you. Can I get a sponsorship? There we go.
Can we get a sponsor? Can we get a Gymshark sponsorship? I have a good question here from Kendall Lopez. Joe, do you swing trade your options or day trade them? If so, which one is better? This is total preference. I definitely swing trade them. So if you're familiar with my style of options trading, I like to create credit spreads, and that's on a weekly basis. So I'll place my orders on the weekend, and then I'll let them expire coming the following Friday. So, but if you have a higher risk tolerance and you want to day trade your options, by all means, do so, all right? So just find something that's really comfortable with you, and that's what I'm really excited to show you guys. In the coming Thursday, we have the introduction to options, and then after part 1, part 2, we're gonna go through a variety of different options trading strategies. So in that, you might find something that is your niche and something that you're absolutely comfortable with. This Apple trade is absolutely buzzing to the top side. We like it. So we're going to continue. We don't have much size left, about 10-15% or so. But if we get this move up to 226, then we're going to try to hold for that. I mean, we broke this this top side level here, this resistance here at 225.36. So we're in this Apple trade. We're going to hold on to this. This is a great stock, a great company. I don't know. I didn't read anything specifically if there was a catalyst on why the overall market was so weak this morning. I know Meta and everything else was absolutely tanking to the downside. But we're going to hold on to this Apple. We got about one more out here until we out of this trade, and we're off to Adara.
We have MSOS getting its 2 largest volume candles of the day by far. basically chopping and turning near flat, but nice push higher. We do have apparently lawmakers urging the DEA to finalize its marijuana rescheduling proposal. We know this meeting is actually set for after the election in early to mid-November, but basically an update with regards to lawmakers wanting the DEA to finalize that proposal for the rescheduling of marijuana, giving MSOS some action. Social media attention actually very muted, though, worth noting here for MSOS, guys.
Keeping an eye on CGC yesterday, obviously, so that was interesting. Again, guys, the vice presidential debate tonight. We got Vance, we got Walz. They both talk up storms. They're both good talkers. I would submit to you the last time we had a VP debate, i.e. Pence, i.e. Harris, Weed ran because Harris made comments specific to legalization. I'm all ears and everything else tonight to hear about any possible legalization with respect to that. I'm not just listening for weed, other industries as well. What do they do? What's the Dem position on student loans? What's the Republican position on student loans? That's been an industry as well. So lots to talk about. I also want to hear possibly, you've been hearing rumblings, Joe, about them having an AI regulator, same kind of setup that they got for the FDA. Mm-hmm. You want to make a drug and sell it in the States as a prescription? You got to go through this process. People talking about possibly you want to make an AI model, you got to go through the process so you know that it's not, gonna bam,
whatever,
you know what I'm saying?
The next Terminator or something.
Exactly.
No, but that's absolutely reasonable, right? Because with these large language models, you can type anything into ChatGPT or Bing or whatever, and it's going to give you an answer. So, and we're just kind of in the starting stages of this stuff. I said this to Sharif. This is like kind of the equivalent of the iPhone 3. Like, we're just starting. The iPhone 3 was groundbreaking. Everybody loved this thing, and we're just starting with this AI stuff. So who knows what's going to happen in 5, 10 years down the road, right? There might be Optimus. Like, I was just in Sherway Gardens Mall yesterday, and I seen the Optimus bot. So it's only a matter of time until those things are doing our dishes and doing everything, right? So maybe it'll be in our lifetime, but we never know. We have Apple pulling back a little bit here, kind of rejecting VWAP, which is okay. We don't got too much size left. We're going to wait a little bit. If we continue to go a little bit higher, I mean, the volume profile here isn't overly fantastic. We don't love it, but we don't hate it either because it's been working for us. So if we get any type of volume to step in, I know we're getting into the lunchroom hour now. So when that happens, things start to slow down a little bit, and that's okay. What is the market going to do today? We don't know. Do we reject VWAP and make a second leg down? That's definitely a high possibility. We'll keep our eyes on it right now. Boeing that we were just talking about is absolutely flying to the top side, and as well as the Chinese ADRs, Sharif.
All right, man. EONR coming back up. I got stopped out through the break of 30, but it's putting in a candle now, looking possibly to retrace into volume weighted average price. This isn't my trade, so I want to see if EONR can weasel its way back above that volume weighted average price at about $1.45. I won't be touching it until then. We're about 10 pennies out of the money right now on INDO as it breaks through 4. It hammered candles through the 10 exponential, not quite as low as a 20 VWAP on this one is about 360. It's Uptober, baby. No, it's the opposite. It is Downtober because, well, where are we? We're down 1.6 on the NQ. We're down 0.95 on the ES. The Russ getting creamed. 1.47. The Dow outperforming everything today, only down 0.33%. Surprising because Apple is a big component of the Dow, and Apple's down 3.25. But the Dow 30 performing better than the other components of the market, or the other indices, I should say, of the market today. So I'm in INDO right now, looking for this to hold. 370 is going to be my last line in the sand. But you guys called this. Boeing is on the dang way up. It blew through that level, and it's blowing through that 155 level, baby. It is on the way up as I see it. Out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 candles, 6 are green on the 5-minute. It's been awfully respectful of the 10 moving average on the 5-minute chart. I'm talking about BA. It is printing current highs as we speak. Look at that directional movement. No real catalyst, I would say. I just want to make sure that I'm not wrong about that. All right. There is, in fact, I think we got UBS cutting the price target of Boeing today from 240 to 220, but that's really no surprise there. Anything else on Boeing? I'm just looking at my news blotter. Defense stock, of course. Belligerencies, Joe, makes money for people. Defense stocks rise as Middle Eastern tensions heighten. I don't like this headline personally. I don't want to make money on the back of that kind of stuff, but that's the way the world we live in is, and that's just the way it is. So we're going to have to deal with it. Right now, back to INDO, looking for this to hold at this level, but we may need to start looking at these defense stocks, man, because I'm seeing stuff come in from the chat about sirens going off in Tel Aviv, this, that, and the other. If that is the case, that is not a good look, certainly. And, well, it may be not a good look for the people there, but if you want to trade it, I guess it gives you a catalyst.
Hey, that's it. And that's exactly what we're looking for here, right? When we're trading stocks, we want to have something that has a little flame up under it, right? Like Boeing. What's going on over there in the Middle East? Like the Iron Dome doing its thing. And that's unfortunate stuff, but we're here to trade stocks. BA is absolutely just flying to the top side. We're still holding this Apple position here. We're going to see if we can get a touch on VWAP anywhere around 226. If we can break this high, this is going to be a great spot to add for me, and I'm looking to add here. So we're going to try to make this a little bit bigger of a winner here. And if we get that 226 break, then we're absolutely looking forward to that. But as of now, I just want to speak on Baba and these ADRs because they're absolutely going nuts. Let me pull them up here. And I was speaking on this before. I thought they were a little bit oversold, so a big recovery here. But we still want to keep up for this isolated signature here because we got a big isolated candle here and this volume print with this candle. So we'll keep an eye out. This could be just a little bit of a recovery day, and that's totally fine because it did sell off quite a bit yesterday, but it has been gapping up. But guys, just keep following the strength, right? We don't want to fight any of these trends. We got Boeing that has catalyst. China has catalyst. So move into that type of strength. We're looking at some of the Mag 7 companies and stuff like that because they're strong. But it's always good to trade these things that have catalysts because that's just going to give more conviction within your favor. So you're adding up dailies, you're looking from an intraday perspective, and you have all these things that can put into conjunction and give more probability in your favor. And that's really, really what we want to look for in trading is just adding probability into your favor. So guys, throw in the chat what you're looking at. We're going to take a look at some of your stocks. We're going to continue to keep dropping hot news all day, breaking news for you guys. So it's really good stuff. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys are following your rules, you're journaling, you're doing what you have to do. No position is a position sometimes. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys are doing fantastic, and we love that stuff, Sharif.
Absolutely, man. EONR, yeah, it is back up into the volume-weighted average price. This is an interesting look right now because it's working its way back into VWAP closely positioned to that 50 penny area. So a little bit disappointed with myself having got stopped out literally bottom wick on this one, but you got to draw a line somewhere. Maybe got stop hunted, but this also has a bit of a resistance zone in and around here. Initially, it was support. This $1.45 level initially, we did bounce off it, come back into 52, but then we gave it up. So holding up here at 45, keeping my eye on this one because if it reclaims VWAP, this could be an interesting trade. Technically, you know, we still have those lower highs, so I don't want to be quick to jump back into the bandwagon on this one with that $1.70 being, you know, $1.73, excuse me, being that initial high. Then we put in a lower crest there at $1.52, and now currently we're at $1.45. So we'll see there. Still in this trade on INDO, looking to see if it can hold up above the volume-weighted average price. Built it a good position here, but it's going to have to hold above VWAP. Otherwise, we want no smoke. And just Boeing keeps going. Oh, that rhymes. Ooh. Boeing keeps going, Joe. Boeing is on the dang way up. It is 2.83% in the clear right now. Out of the last, let's see, what do we got there? 8 5-minute candles, Joe. We've got 7 that are green. So all sorts of buying right now in BA. How do we get into this, man? Do I get in?
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it in too, but it's so extended right now, right?
It is.
And we don't want to chase it. Don't chase, guys. So we're going to set it a prime example today. We're going to wait for our entry. And then if we can get in on this action on Boeing, I think Sharif and I are absolutely going to join. So we're looking forward to that.
Where would you get in? Because right now, here's what I'm looking at. So let me look at the 5-minute chart. Now, if I really want to get into an area where I know we held up, I got to wait for 154.25. Look what we're printing, 156.40. What are the odds that we come into 154.25? Maybe good, maybe not. I don't know. Personally, you know, I don't want to punch in at these highs. Then you're looking at the whole dollar levels. There's 156 hanging out there. Then there's 155. Then you got the 10, or Joe uses the 9, 154.55 or 50, whatever. So I'm not sure how to join this. You're not going to see me punch in at highs, just not the way I trade. I can't do that. I need a technical support level off which to get in, but Boeing is awfully in play today, 2 3/4. I suspect we'll probably see a little bit higher, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Someone in the chat said, what is LMT looking like? Lockheed Martin, defense stock. Hey, with the political unrest, these things are going to absolutely start buzzing, right? And that's exactly what Lockheed Martin did. Probably one of the better defense stocks that you can look at here, and it's just absolutely trading to the top side. So if you're in Lockheed Martin, you've been playing the defense stocks with all the geopolitical unrest, then absolutely kudos to you. Great stuff. That's exactly what we want to see. Sharif and I are looking for an entry over here on BA. I'll pull up the BA chart real quick as well too, even though Sharif's done his analysis. But we're gonna look to get in here. Any form of relative weakness, maybe even just a pullback. We're going to look to join this stock and continue to this top side. You can see that the volume is increasing as we increase in price. This is exactly what we want to see, right? This is what we would call a genuine move in the stock market. So we have rising volume and we have rising price. This is exactly what we want to look for when we see this stuff. Sharif and I absolutely love it. So we're going to continue to look up for those types of things and keep our eyes out. We got the Chinese ADRs again, continuously trading to the top side. Let me touch on the overall market for a little bit. SPY and the Qs are just kind of hanging just below. VWAP here, let me pull those up for you as well too. We got the Qs as well, so they're not really doing anything crazy. Just hovering below VWAP here. We'll see if we can punch and break through VWAP, the 481 area. And if it does, maybe we'll look for a V reversal and we continue to the top side. But again, with negative news looming, we're not going to force it. If we decide to reject VWAP, even pull up a little bit above it, we're going to check the volume profile from that standpoint. And then we're going to look to continue in the trend, whichever way it goes, Sharif.
Yes, sir. I'm watching Boeing take a little bit of a curl down now off that 156.40 top, down below 156 now into the 70s, 155. People saying, there's your entry in Boeing. Is it? Maybe. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, he's been very strong. Does it get that gnarly pullback that we can, that we can get in on? So I'm keeping my eye right now on Boeing. In a perfect world, it comes back into that 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. Right now, that's showing just around that 155 area. Nice move now. We're almost $1 off the top at 155.60s right now. There's just not enough here to show me, oh, this is a good support level. I'd rather wait for the levels that I've earmarked. Otherwise, I'll just miss the trade. And nice now we're getting a nice little candle down here on BA into that 155. We get into 155s. I'm loving life. We'll see. We'll look to get in there. So exactly where is the 10 exponential on my chart? 154.70 is where it's showing. Now we are $1 off that top, so we're going to pack our patience to see if we can work into this trade. But again, I don't need to be first. I just need to participate. It's showing you it's inclination to move up. We know shots are being fired, yada, yada. You guys get it, right? So none of that's really changing. I don't think no peace deal is going to be struck while I'm trying to get into Boeing. So the point is that the catalyst is in play, and we don't, unless my level comes in, I'm not going to be jumping into this. All right, I like that 155 to basically shadow off that 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, which is a little bit below 155, but I'd likely front run it there. Down into the 30s we go, so we're still bleeding a little bit here off that 156.40. Look, it doesn't hurt to do some more charting again because these are new levels that we got into. So let's go back into the half-an-hour chart and see and gauge, or not the half. Yeah, the half. That's not bad. Okay, so a lot of resistance here, no matter how you look at it, at 157. Okay, that has been the case. September 23rd, September 25th, 26th, 27th, and if we get into it today, it'll be again. So look at the closing print on September 23rd on this huge candle on the half an hour, 156.83. Look at this topping tail on the 25th, 157. Again, On the 26th, 157. Again, not topping tail this time, but we actually hung out around there. 27th, again. So right now we're getting that 156.40 HOD. Could we get another 157 move up like we've been getting the last few days? So keeping my eye definitely, certainly on Boeing over here as it does come down. I'd like something off 155-ish, Joe.
Oh, beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. So I had someone in the chat saying, Joe, I'm looking to sell some calls on DJT. That's fantastic. We love that stuff. So if you're looking, if you have that, we're off to Adara actually real quick.
This is our Happening Now segment, the lunch edition. So here's some things that have changed that we've had since the midday. Of course, the biggest thing we have going on right now in this market that wasn't necessarily happening in the pre-market, continued developments here in the Middle East, specifically with regards to Iran, Israel, and Lebanon. We have some continuous reporting going on from Axios giving some updates. Basically, this all began when we got this tweet here from Barak Ravid saying that the U.S. has apparently indications that Iran was looking to strike Israel. As of a while ago, they were supposed to strike 12 minutes ago. That was about 40 minutes ago, so unsure of the updates of that. I've not seen much, but continuing, apparently sirens are being heard, so lots of ongoing updates here. S&P 500, interestingly enough, rejecting here on the 15-minute chart at an area where we previously found support on the 15-minute. Other, of course, big things to think about with this market are the port and dock workers strikes, which began today at 12 a.m. There's also some economic data. We got higher than expected JOLTS job openings and lower than expected ISM manufacturing PMI and construction spending for the month of August. In terms of stocks, keep an eye on anything in the defensive space right now with what's going on again, with these Middle East tensions. NOC here, Northrop Grumman, definitely one to keep an eye on, as RTX, LMT, lots of stocks in that space pushing higher as the market pushed a little bit lower. Another stock to keep an eye on here is MSOS with some midday action. So it's circulating on social media that lawmakers are looking to urge the DEA to finalize that marijuana rescheduling proposal. So MSOS, some tickers in that space on watch today as well. Lots of midday action. Let's see what happens next, guys. We're going to go over to Neil. Muted. Yeah, so right now we're just waiting here for some more updates. Just seeing apparently Lyft has renewed its multi-year commercial insurance partnership to covering rideshare in 23 states, so LYFT on watch. Also, some more updates here from CVS. We know there's been some activist interest in CVS here. Now saying apparently it's set to reduce its workforce by less than 1%, which would be roughly 2,900 employees. This is part of a previously announced cost savings initiative. And also, of course, Nike earnings on watch after the close, seeing lots of talk about that as well. Again, NKE last time moved down about 20%. We know last earnings were quite the disappointment. Expected move here of 7%. So let's see how NKE reacts here. And now we are good to go here with Neil's lesson after a little impromptu news segment, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, Dara. So apparently, Ramin just came over. It was on, turned it off, and turned it back on. And now it just works. So the old patented turn it off and then turn it on again has worked out. Now, obviously, as I was saying, there was some news and geopolitical news that turned the markets into a bit of turmoil. Obviously, you're not going to have it usually in your trade plan for something like this. So we're just going to walk through one of the things that we observed today that I like for the lesson of the day. Clearly, look what's up on my quote board. And my quote board is not a reflection of everything that's in the market, but you got UVXY. Obviously, that's going to go to the upside when the market's going down. That is just going to be volatility. Chinese names, you've got oil futures, your Oxy, XOM, just the things that I'm watching here. And then pretty much everything else is weak. Now, it's very easy when we have those headlines to understand, like, so oil is going to go up, right? And when the first thing you saw me go over to, and look, let's go to LMT before I get into Indo. Like, Lockheed Martin, the defensive names are going to start to trend to the upside. And then I was trading INDO And the easy part is find something you like, hop over to it that's going to go with the trend. Okay, great. That's the easy part. Go into INDO, grab a couple of longs in there and just join that trend. I didn't see that trend coming, but once it's there, you want to respect it, which we did. Now, the interesting thing is when we look at, I'm going to go to CL, go back to the oil futures, and then have a quick look at something like a Google here, which has been a relatively strong stock because it's actually still green. So clearly, the market decided to diverge from the early up move on some stocks, I suppose, like a Google, and then broke down. And it's like the news dragged down pretty much everything in the moment. So there was nothing that was able to withstand that push. But you still had names which were relatively strong that, okay, fine, the sentiment is to the downside, but what's the argument for some of the tech names to really be that bad off in this situation? Does it directly affect them? And if the answer is a potential no, they might catch a bid. So you're going to have early on up oil, down everything, up energy, up defense, down everything. But there's always, and this is where it gets sort of important, that trend is continuing to the upside. I think you can still work it long. But notice how you've bottomed out in tech. This is what you have to watch out for on a day like today, where some of the names that have been dragged down by the overall sentiment in the market are going to be able to catch a bid while the direct news names are still going. And it's important to be able to recognize this. And as this is heading to the upside in Alphabet, you don't necessarily want to have given up on looking for the trend in energy names and defense names, because there's your double bottom right here at 1125. It's not a bad area to look for dips, but you could argue that, okay, Neil, you're just you're cherry picking in here. That's not fair. Not really. Nvidia also made a bottom at that same price area just after 1120 or so. So both of these are a pretty good idea that the market was already bouncing. But let's look what was happening in oil. Instead of tech bouncing, hey, all the names that are going down or going up on the news are going to pull back. No, it actually made another leg higher. And I don't want to say always, but there's often that point when you have something very news-based driven where you're going to have, okay, these are going up, the others are going down, but that doesn't have to hold the entire way, especially when fundamentally speaking, we know why oil and defense go up in that situation. We know sentiment reason why they go down. But in truth, and this is not a fun thing to say, but in the long run, this doesn't affect these tech names. I know we live in a world where obviously the value of human life it's priceless. But truth be told, the markets in the longer run have not been reacting to these kind of geopolitical events, at least when we're being dragged up by tech forever. So the thing you want to, I'm not saying anticipate and no, we'll just go long everything in tech. What I'm getting at here is at the moment where you can catch a bit of a, hey, we've fallen enough on the names that shouldn't be falling this far. Speaking of tech, for this kind of a headline, when they start bouncing, that's not the point at which you just give up on the other side of the trade, which obviously here was long anything related to energy. I showed you guys oil. I can pull up something like, whoops, that's Oxy. Don't want that one. We want the actual Occidental. And at that same point where tech was bouncing and the market was bouncing, you still made another leg up. Now, ultimately, there has been a pullback. But when the news is directly related to individual names, don't just give up on the trend because you happen to notice that relationship. It was easy to be short pretty much everything and long pretty much everything in the energy space. But when the market made that bottom, you still had another leg up that was worth it on Oxy, on CL. Maybe not as much on Indo, but as we mentioned on Indo, that's a very parabolic style mover. So the first thing you can do whenever you have something, a news story like that, is do not fight the original trend. Right? I think that's an easy thing to say. If you can find something like a Lockheed or an Indo or the oil futures or Occidental or XOM and join it to the long side, great. If you can work into those shorts early, fantastic. But when the rest of the market decided that that was enough, we're not going to fall any further on that headline, all of those names still managed to make another leg higher. So you don't want to give up on the original strong trend just because you observe this inverse relationship. That relationship tends to give it up at some point. Think of it along the lines of, sometimes you'll have a day where Google is going up and Apple and the rest of the Meg 7 are going down. Every now and then, you're going to get to that point where you're going to get dragged down far enough that even the strong name's going to pull back. So early on, you can have those divergences, especially with news here. But remember the underlying reason why you would have been long Indo or LMT or Oxy or oil. And don't give up on that trend until it tells you to, just because the other names decided to reverse. So your lesson of the day, obviously geopolitical news was a big one here today and still trending up with the names being affected by it, even if the market has decided to recover. Good luck the rest of the day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Neil. Dropping hot lines as always, but you can tell that this is not Joe.
Hey guys, how's everyone?
There you go. Who knows who this handsome gentleman is? I know. It's Adam Delo. And if you've been watching the show for a hot minute, you know that Adam is always active in the chat. He's an excellent trader. But that's not just the only thing, Adam. You do a lot of algos. I
do trade. So, yeah, I've done nearly 10 years of experience in trading. Hope to see everyone. Hi, Bears versus Bulls. Good to see you.
Love it. Love it. There's a lot of people that you know in the chat, and a lot of people know you as well, right? There we go. Yeah, wait, because there's always a little bit of a delay, right? You know about this. You watch the show. There you go, Yoel Reina. Everybody knows Top G. You're getting love from the chat, man. It's obviously great to have you on.
Thank you, guys.
You and I have been talking in the chat for many years now. Initially, we obviously cheer for the same footy team,
awesome.
And then that's how kind of started there. That's personally how I remember it. Obviously, you're from England as well. I have connections in that country. Having studied there, love England, love everything that country has to offer. Now we've been keeping in touch on the gram for a hot minute as well.
Yeah.
So it's obviously amazing to see you IRL. And actually get to sit next to you, man. So yeah, thanks for being on and thanks for coming.
Welcome, mate. I mean,
what are your thoughts about Toronto so far?
Toronto's brilliant. The weather's great. There's so much to see. We went to the game on Saturday. Wasn't the best result, but
it's okay. They haven't been
good.
It's
about the people, really, isn't it? That's what it's about.
They haven't been very good this year, to be honest with you. So well, yeah. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? The Jays have been. They've been terrible. I mean, Neil knows, right? He's a season ticket holder. If anybody knows him, Katina, man, I saw you and him there as well. So tell us, Adam, though, because there's a lot of interest in the chat with respect to algo trading. A lot of people want to be able to automate this business. You do a lot of that, and you have a company specifically that does that kind of thing. Tell us a little bit about the industry and about everything.
Sure. So for most people, if you've been trading for quite a long time, you start to see patterns in the markets, and it's about saving your time, really. Get the freedom. People want to automate things. They don't want to be spending all the time always on the charts, do they?
No, certainly not.
It takes a lot of time, doesn't it? So with algos, you're able to save your time, get the freedom, and do the things that you want to do. If I'm in Toronto right now, my systems will be working, and when setups come up, they'll take the opportunity, and you'll tend to see that algos have similar patterns with how markets behave, because obviously it's all data relative. So like today, for example, with the NQ, we can see that it's gone to the downside. We got some certain prints, catalysts came in as well with the jobs.
Right.
And that kind of supported the trend down, really. We started to see a little bit of a bounce, like we can see, can't we? Some sort of a consolidation with Apple, Nvidia right now. And yeah, so we're just thinking, do we get that mean reversion back to VWAP?
So without giving up, too much of the secret sauce, obviously, because that's what makes up this whole thing, you're doing a couple of things right now. So number one, you're using, I'm assuming, an API to connect your own algorithm into the brokerage. So that's your first method there. And then you and I talked off camera. You're using Python as your language of choice, your script language of choice. Are specific reasons you're using Python?
It just seems to be more efficient and easier to get the transactions into the execution side. What else? It's just easier to type in a sense what you're looking for, because it's kind of hard to explain sometimes, even to ourselves of what we're looking for, and again, I've got like a team as well as software. I'm sort of the strategy side.
Right.
I've got very good ideas of how like markets sort of behave and what they're looking to do. That's interesting right now on Apple on the 1 minute.
1 minute on Apple, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's headed down a little bit right now. You want to have a look at that?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Give us your TA, baby.
well, we can see that we've got like a little bit of a resistance level here at the just below 126. Obviously, we're defending this 124.56. This is kind of like basic for me, really, because I have quite a lot of other things that I'll add in later on. But really, you want to be seeing, like, from what I was looking at beforehand, we'll have VWAP. So clearly, we're still underneath. That's the trend. We had a little bit of a pullback, some consolidation phase. But right now, we're getting that flush. Do we get, lower low from here or not? It's currently 12:15. So again, there's sort of that like lunch period where most algos won't tend to get in right now. You'll have low volume. The volume's drying out as well. So we'll see what happens in an hour, whether we, see some sort of up move or down move, really. That's going to just consolidate, I think, for the next hour or so and then get some decisions later on.
Do you enter volume parameters and time of day parameters into the trading decisions as well? Or is it price action based and off key levels?
We have 108 criteria to fill.
Fantastic.
So we have, like you say, volume, we'll have stochastics, VWAP, your EMAs. Price action is obviously a big factor in that.
Of course.
We discussed about how the open and close of a candle can determine the confirmation.
Yes.
You don't really want to be getting in when the candle's still live and moving. So be aware of that, because that traps people in.
Absolutely.
Always kind of like stick to the trend, as Neil and Sean tend to do. So
yeah, and you gave me a really good point. So if I could just elaborate on what you were talking about there.
Sure.
Specifically, you were telling me about Amazon. So if we could pull up this chart over here. So this is one of the candles he was showing me right here. So we had actually just made this candle at 940. And he's like, look, Sharif, the fact that we opened this candle, closed on this candle, and then the subsequent candle also closed red, is it, am I saying that accurately? Below the 10 exponential, you use the 9, but very similar. Yeah. And then you're like, that is obviously a very bearish signal, but you waited for this particular candle to close. Is that correct?
yeah, so you can see in pre-market that we've got some bearish candles. Again, EMAs and VWAPs are all above. So you can clearly see that the price is to the downside. Now, what we do is we get that obviously move in the open. We have that little breath pushing back up, which was that bullish candle.
Right, can I show the chart?
Yeah, sure, yeah. You get that breath with that bullish candle, and then obviously if the next candle is bearish, then obviously you can see the continuation with the algos will look to continue to punch in straight away. And from there, it really just tested off VWAP and the EMA 10. As you can see, it's just kind of like glided itself down to the downside. And then vice versa on that bullish candle. Yeah,
this one?
That's it. The next one. Yeah, you can see how it's like opened and printed just above.
Yep. And so opened and printed above. So guys, what he's saying is it opened above the 10 exponential and it ended up closing above the 10 exponential. So I like how you're looking at that open and close above a key moving average.
Yeah, that's what algos are looking at. They really are looking at confirmation. Otherwise, if this candle, like the previous candle, if the previous candle you can see, that means we're going to still see like bearish sentiment. But because we got that, the next candle, as you can see, was bullish. It was open, and actually the wick tapped into the EMA 10.
Love that.
So you can see like where obviously institutions are looking to get in. Because we got that print, that 5-minute candle's up. You can see now it's just sort of like gliding up away. It's sort of like tapped further on the EMA 10, so it's gliding up there. It's had a little bit of a pullback. Get that tap into the EMA 10 again. We're now breaking, possibly if we print here, we've got 3 minutes to the next candle and a 5-minute, or we've got 13 minutes to the next 15 candle. Then we're looking to maybe have a continuation towards maybe that next to the high sort of thing,
Yeah, at least the pre-market high consolidation there, like around what, 186s or so, 185s and a half. Yeah, fantastic look, and you're getting that rounded bottom. Shout out to Michael Moss and Big Spile Burdett. We're missing Big Spile today, obviously, but yeah, fantastic recovery by Amazon. Certainly, not one that I pegged for the recovery today, but hey, they had a good catalyst, guys, with a partial dismissal of their antitrust lawsuit. So good look there. We're getting some nice retracements here. You can see Microsoft retracing into the volume-weighted average price. Likewise with Google, you're getting Tesla breaching it. But then you've got the likes of Nvidia, the Fuge, Apple, obviously as well, and even Meta's trying to retrace as well. So some, a bit more stronger than others. I would have to peg Amazon right now as definitely one of the stronger of the Mag 7 names, just owing to its price action position relative to the other indicators. You're getting, that you're above the 50, the 10, the 20, and VWAP. Only thing you're below on the 5-minute is that 200 moving average, Adam. So that's an interesting look there. Tell us a little bit more, though, about your specific approach to the market. So are you trading these large caps, or what are you setting up the algos on?
Sure. So we tend to trade futures because it's the most liquid products. So we tend to do like the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, or the NASDAQ, all the catalyst really indices. Again, they're all very similar in a way in terms of like the Mag 7. You can see today, for example, they all kind of like moved to the downside, started to form a consolidation period, and now they're starting to go to a little bit towards the upside. It's interesting what Sharif just said then is that Amazon is actually higher than pretty much all the EMAs, when some of the others, such as Apple, Nvidia, are still finding their way to the upsides. But yeah, Amazon's had a great move so far.
John Paul, we are charting. Anytime you see some of these black charts over here, they are always on the 5-minute. Anytime you see my white charts over here, you're always going to see them on the 1-minute. That is unless I tell you otherwise. So if I bring in a single chart over there, like this over here, this one will be a wild card depending on whether we're charting on the daily, the 4-hour, whatever. I just want to make that clear because sometimes you just can't see my time frame, and I don't blame you because it is really written in small time. So the white, always on the 1, the black will always be on the 5 if it's these 8 over here, and then the wild card will be the single one over here. I hope that helps, John Paul. And yeah, sorry about that small font. All right, let's have a look at this market real quick over here. Boeing seems to be holding that 155 area, guys, trying to curl off that 10 exponential on the 5. I'm not going to be first into this. I already got stopped out on Boeing, but if Boeing wants to hold up at the 155 over here and start putting in higher highs and higher lows, I'm going to get involved. There is this candle of indecision at 12:15. The high up there was 156.34. Let's see if we can hold this Sorry, that's incorrect. 155.22. That's what I meant. 155.22, and you can kind of see that that's kind of like the neckline of this possible rounded bottom. I just want to see if we hold this general 155. If we hold generally 155, which shadows my 10 exponential moving average on the 5, and then we put in incrementally higher highs and higher lows for that rounding off. I'll get it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, and then we'll look for another move up on Boeing. But I'm looking to these oil names. I'm looking to these, let's call them defense names, because of the belligerencies in the Middle East, obviously, and that seems to be in play today. I'm getting all sorts of notifications from you guys in the chat that you're hearing all sorts of sirens. Adair reporting on that as well, and we're going to thank her for bringing that to our attention. Crap stock. Adam, what broker are you using?
So we use FX Pro. It's one of the best brokers in the UK. We've got good terms with them as well.
Good.
So again, it's just about finding your whatever suits you. It's all about mainly the spread. You want to get tight spreads, don't you? That's the main thing. You've got a good idea. You want to make sure you're getting filled in at good prices. So yeah, FX Pro to the broker.
Okay, so we actually had, we were supposed to have an algo segment with a different trader. So the Chilean Nightmare and the excellent production team that we have, they made an entire animation for this algo segment. We haven't had an opportunity to play it, Adam. So we're going to take advantage of the fact that you're here and dropping hotlines about algo. Get it, Chilean Nightmare. Oh. Ram doesn't like when we don't talk. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's brilliant.
You were the inaugural play right there. So I hope that you're very enthralled by that. Awesome. Obviously, we're just joking. Thank you again, Adam, for being on. Leave us with some good ideas here with respect to algo trading. If people want to jump into the algo world, what would be your first suggestion for them to get their feet wet?
Ideally, learn a little bit of a language, or if you've got like a network of friends who are comfortable in that sort of section, go into that. What I'd say is focus on your strategy.
Right.
You know, everyone's got their own strategies. You know how it works. It takes time, but once you've got it, you want to automate it. Save yourself time doing that. For me, it's about think like an algo, and what I mean by that is you want to, you don't want to be getting in when it's like consolidating. Here, for example, obviously this is pre-market, but you can see here, for example, on Apple, we get an open and close candle right here, and this is the open, so you get a little bit of a wick up, push back down. So this candle here, for example, open and close, looking at a bearish sort of sentiment as well with the catalyst that we had. It flushed it down to the downside. It kind of taps into the EMA's 9 here. So again, another sort of entry, like a little pop and drop. Again, so again, the great thing that Neil does. And again, really, you want to be just make sure you get like a TP1. You've got like maybe a TP2. You've got to back test these as well with algos. So every tick is different. You know, you might have Amazon, you might have Apple, you've got your Nvidias.
Sure.
They all behave differently, don't they, in different ranges. So ATRs and stuff, make sure you're aware of that, and always have a runner. You know,
Always.
the great traders always have a runner, and they'll probably be getting out here. You see this open and close candle, they're sort of done. And they're probably looking at sort of like a consolidation period here. It's lunchtime as well, so they'll just wait for that sort of 1 o'clock time here.
Let me ask you, are you making any adjustments to the algos on a consistent basis, or do you let it cook and so you can have consistent data off which to base it?
It's fully 100% automated.
Got it.
So I don't have any inputs whatsoever.
Very interesting.
Once it's live, leave it. You've done the testing, you leave that sort of thing, and we're doing really well this year. We're up 34% year to date, so pretty good.
That's fantastic.
But
So you're outperforming the market, in other words. You're outperforming the market.
yeah.
Which is the standard, right? That's what we all gauge against, right?
Yeah, I definitely believe in like quant strategies. And what else is there?
Fabian wants to know, is there a machine learning component to your algo trading?
Good question.
Because that's the new thing, right? Everybody's talking about machine learning, AI. Is there anything left to human input?
There is always something left to human input.
Love it.
I'd say that.
Love it.
There's a little bit of machine learning as well. So again, I've got a software team that does that sort of thing. They're fantastic.
Fantastic.
But always looking to innovate. So if you've got the weekend when the markets are closed, look at what you did good at, what you didn't do so good at, and always look to learn. That's the thing. Even if you have like a bad day or a bad week, you can always learn from how it happened, like why you got into an unfortunate situation, or if you did a winning week, you're like, oh, that's great. Like, how could I improve though? How could I get better?
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Go for it.
It wouldn't be a session without putting you on the spot, Adam. Leave us with one ticker that you like for the rest of the year. And it can be anything.
I like Nvidia.
You like Nvidia? Sure.
I think I see AI going into it. So I'd go Nvidia. I'd say, I believe in the AI sort of world. Again, I'm sort of in that industry, automation. I believe it's important to make things efficient for us.
Yep.
They're one of the biggest
yeah.
companies in the world.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Are they a little bit pricey? Well, we've had that pullback from 141. So, if we go back to 107.5, I believe it is, maybe look at something. But yeah, Nvidia for me.
Fantastic. I mean, look, a lot of people complain about the costs, obviously, of Nvidia, but we're not really talking about the fact that they're growing their revenue hand over fist, right? So I think that's really what's keeping this thing up. All right, BA, I see it, that trader. Rohit, Adam, how algos decide on averaging dollar cost? I mean, DCAing. How algos ask for confirmation before dollar cost averaging? I'm pretty sure you kind of answered this indirectly, and they said that everything's automated.
Everything is automated, so it doesn't give me any confirmation signal saying like, oh, do you want to enter now? No, it's totally done. Like as I'm right here, right now on this floor. My systems are live and on, and I don't need to be intervened. VPS is connected to the algo and the broker. So as long as the signal's good, I don't need any input.
Fantastic.
That's the whole purpose as well, isn't it? You want to be able to travel. You've got a good strategy. You want to be able to make money while you're, while you're away.
All right. Who's going to win today?
Arsenal.
We're going to kill him. And Dembele is suspended for behavioral issues. Suspended in team, by the way, not even by UEFA. So
good.
All right. So I'm good with that. Yeah, I think we wiped the floor with them today. But yeah, that's the look. Good. So we're gonna get that at 3 o'clock. All right, guys, throw up ones from my man Adam in the chat. I love what they put there on your header there. Chat fave and Algo trader. That's true. So finally, Ram gets something right. Fantastic look there. Throw up ones for my man in the chat. Thank you so much for being on, Adam, man. And we so excited to have you on and absolutely kill it by the end of the year. Awesome. Adam Delo, everybody, chat fave and Algo trader extraordinaire, and one of my yeah, it's a look there. Shout out, Adam. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, we're going to have Joe come on in a few minutes. Guys, I'm back in this Boeing trade as it looked like it, for the moment, did defend 155 and wants to curl back up. You see that kind of curling pattern there. We're going to give this one the old college try, and you're getting a lot of love there in the chat, my man, as I expected you would. I'm throwing my own one in there, man. I didn't even throw my own one. So we're going to look to see if Boeing wants to curl back up, possibly into that 156. We'll look to wet our beak somewhere on the way up there. But Boeing in play today, 2.17% after having a tough few days. And in case you're wondering what the catalyst is all about here with BA, it is likely the belligerencies that are occurring right now in the Middle East, because there really was no positive catalyst from this otherwise. I mean, you had obviously UBS chiming in today, cutting the price target from Boeing, from 240 into 220, citing many different reasons, one of which obviously is the machinist strike. Can't produce planes, not like they were producing them hand over fist prior to that. Usually they want to pump out about 38 737s per month. That obviously is in jeopardy now, as that is, yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about one large cap, and then we'll go into the small caps, because Adair is at the green screen, and she's got the small cap segment.
We have IWM up here, beautiful double bottom here around that 216.65 area on the 15-minute chart. Let's see if we'd eclipse these highs, because right now it looks like we're making a slightly lower high for the Russell 2000. For the small caps right now, I didn't want to repeat the ones we already did, so we're going to look at one name for each of these sectors that are kind of in play today as of the midday. So first, we're going to look at some of these names in the energy space. Of course, as Sharif was just mentioning, we do have the belligerencies there in the Middle East, the ongoing tensions. So USEG, this is U.S. energy. This one's certainly in play here. A bit of a range, but doing pretty well right now on the day. We also have your FLGC. This is Flora Growth. This is a name in the cannabis space. Bit of definitely a small cap here, around $23 million market cap and under 10 million shares for FLGC. Last but not least here, we have this ticker LX. This is an ADR, so we know we have those Chinese ADRs moving. This one's actually based in the Cayman Islands at new high of days. Good volume here for Lex and FinTech. So lots of names on watch here today in a lot of different catalysts. If you don't want to trade the more expensive names or the mega caps, there can be some small cap options in these sectors as well.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Appreciate that. We got my man Joe back.
We're back.
We got one hotline dropper on options, the other hotline dropper on algos. You never know what you're going to get on this midday.
We don't know what to do with ourselves anymore. We got such information overload, and we absolutely love it. So shout out Adam. We don't know what he's doing up later, but we know how the boys in the UK get down. So maybe we'll get some frosty pints, talk some stocks.
Yeah,
after,
man. You're more than welcome to join us. Yeah. We're gonna hit whatever, some sort of bar after we watch Arsenal PSG. You're such a big soccer fan.
Yeah,
so.
well, yeah.
I know, I'm just playing with you there.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding there. Joe, anything that you had your eyes on while Adam was dropping hotlines?
You know what? No, we just got out of our Apple position here. As you can see, it's starting to pull in a little bit more and maybe go and test these lows. If it decides to break a little bit lower, maybe we join the trend, and the volume is absolutely stepping in here. You can see the orders being flushed on the tape, so we're going to look to join the trend here. If this level holds, then maybe we get another chance and we take another break above VWAP, considering how tight it is hugging price, and I like to see that. So we'll see what we can do with that. Other than that, we're sitting on our hands. Maybe we're going to short some Qs here shortly. And that's it so far, Sharif. How about you?
Nothing much, man. Just got stopped out of Boeing again. It's not been a good trading day for me today, but that's all right. We'll look to do a little bit better. All right, we're going to start the lesson. But before we do that, Adair's got something for at the desk. What do you got?
Get another update coming out of the Middle East here, guys. We do have comments. Apparently, Iran has begun missile launches here against Israel. This is according to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. Also, apparently, there's a warning alarm from Israel's home front command sound in Jerusalem. So both these warning alarms worth noting, and the fact that Iran has apparently begun missile launches against Israel. Again, this is coming from the IDF itself. So keep an eye on the market here. Again, if I see anything moving in the market, I will absolutely be letting you guys know.
Thank you for that, Adair. I want to shout out to OG Darwin saying Jerusalem siren alarm now. Okay, so now we got Tel Aviv, we got Jerusalem. Who's next? Haifa. So we're going to have to keep our eye on that. Not a good look, guys. Not a good look. I don't like reporting on this stuff, but this is the way it is. Let's get to the lesson du jour. We're talking about level 2, guys, today. Specifically, we're talking about using level 2 to identify those dynamic areas of support and resistance. So yesterday, we explored the basic intricacies of the order book. Today, though, let's leverage that newfound knowledge. To identify this dynamic support and resistance zones on level 2. Let's get right to it. So let's move beyond the static lines that we typically see on charts, identifying support and resistance. Traditionally, these support and resistance zones are drawn using horizontal lines on charts based on historical price action, not current trends, but historical price action. However, the order book gives us a bit of a different twist. It offers you real-time insights into where these support and resistance zones may be forming or may be shifting. And this is what we're talking about here. Typically, we're just drawing horizontal lines. Sometimes, they can be diagonal, obviously, on the chart to depict previous areas of support and resistance. But what we have on the level 2, it's showing you where the buyers are sitting now, where the sellers are sitting now, right? There's obviously bamboozlement with that as well, but it gives us more of a current look as opposed to what had been in the past. So let's talk about the order book depth as your lifeline in these markets. What do I mean by that? You're looking for areas with significant order volume on either side of the book. So we talked about this first time around. High bid depth. This is what we used for support. What is high bid depth, though? So technically, it's a cluster of bids at a specific level, which is indicating to you buying pressure that could potentially hold the price from falling further. This area becomes a support zone. So I remember I was talking about this yesterday. If we're ascending in the price action and I want to know, should I get in? And I get in, right? And then all of a sudden, there's an order behind me. Say I punched 200 long on Amazon once it broke, 201 on Amazon. So I'm looking to see, is 200 going to hold? All of a sudden, we break through that 200 level. Maybe we get to $210. All of a sudden, there's a monster buyer at $200.01. So I'm like, all right, great. This buyer may prevent the price action from breaking down below that $200 level. So I'm always looking to see, is there a big buyer backstopping me as the price ascends? If I'm long, the opposite is true if you're short. Is there a big seller to backstop you if you're short in case the price pops up? So to build upon that, the exact opposite of what I just said is true about the high bid depth. The high ask depth, which we use as resistance, is also a thing. It's a concentration of asks at a specific price level, which is indicating to you selling pressure that can either stall or reverse the price advance. This becomes, known as the potential resistance zone. And here's kind of what it looks like on the tape. Compare and contrast the difference, the weight difference here between how much size is sitting on the bid at the specific level versus how much is sitting on the ask. There is clearly a buy imbalance that we have on the stock at this level. It doesn't mean it exists at every other level. It exists here. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm trying to show you here. Big buying on one side of the book and not much else on the other side of the book. The opposite is also true. Look at the lottage over here that we have on the ask. 770,000 shares, 196,000, 267,000. Nary do you have even a 3 print over here. You have one that's 110,000. Again, there is a sell imbalance on this name at this specific price range. That's what we're talking about there.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You want to add in here?
No. Keep going there, brother.
Let's talk about the art of the order book whispers, though. I mean, obviously, we're choosing names. Fabian's whispering in my ear. Fantastic look there. But what do we mean by this? So I'm talking about the order book shifts. This is a sudden increase, for example, of bid or asks. It works both ways at a particular level, which can foreshadow to you a support or resistance form or that's forming there. That's what I mean. And then you also have to keep your eye on these order book vacuums. What do I mean by that? This is essentially a notable absence of orders at a price level, and that's indicative of a potential breakout zone. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a sec. So if it's below a current support level, if the price is below a current support level, there might be buyers waiting to step in. Conversely, a vacuum above resistance suggests less resistance for a potential price surge. So we've often talked about this. So let's say, example, right, that 200 level on Amazon again, right? So if there is no buyers on Amazon until, say, $199.50, okay, or $199, let's use $199. So if I'm getting in at 200 and there's a vacuum of buy orders between that 200 and that 199, I know that there is a higher chance that if we do move down, I get stopped out and it pushes down into 199 because the big boy volume is sitting at that 199. So we know that just by looking at the book. Again, bamboozlement's real. It's fast and furious. The orders could be icebergs, or the orders could come in as the price action descends. There's nothing stopping people from posting orders, either market or limit, when the price reaches, right? But we can only gauge what we have right now on the level 2. So again, these big absence of these levels with an absence of buy orders or sell orders to the ask side, also very indicative as well. And we're always looking for confirmation no matter what we're doing with trading. So while the order book provides valuable clues, it's not a crystal ball, right? So here's how to add weight to your analysis. First and foremost, price action confirmation. What does this mean? So you're looking for the price to actually touch or stall near the identified support and resistance zone. This validates the order book signal, right? And then you also want to look at the technical indicators. What are they telling you? So using indicators like moving averages or relative strength, RSI, to gauge overall price momentum and potential trend reversals around these zones. So here's what I mean. So you know that you have a big sell order on Amazon at $201. Fine, fantastic. You know that there's a whole bunch of selling there. You've looked previously and you know that there is there's resistance there. Fine. But what does the RSI say? So if we were to break that 201, would we be in oversold territory on RSI? Or would there be potential price action RSI divergence? So if we were to make that new high, breaching 201, would that also be a new high on the RSI chart? If it isn't, if it's a lower high, maybe we're losing steam. So you need to be looking at the technical indicators in addition to what the level 2 is showing you. It is just one component. You want the balance of the evidence. Last but not least, with respect to topics, dynamic adaptations. What do we mean by that? Well, we're talking about these order book fluctuations, which are real, right? Remember, the order book is absolutely fluid. Levels can change rapidly. Be prepared to adjust your support and resistance zones. Don't get stuck in one mentality. You need to adjust using these real-time order book movements. And again, new catalysts can absolutely change everything. So you've charted your levels. You've identified your support and resistance zones on level 2. All of a sudden, like we just got right now, belligerencies in the Middle East changes that entire narrative. So news can dramatically alter support and resistance. Make sure that you are counting for that as well. And last but not least here, we kind of left you with this last time, TWAP, time weighted average price orders. Super interesting. You can kind of gauge this on your own time. These essentially are sophisticated order types to buy or sell a certain amount of stock at an average price over a specified period. I know that's a mouthful. You're looking for these large TWAP orders on the buy side, near support, or sell side, near resistance. It suggests to you institutional interest potentially aligning with your support and resistance zones, which could be accumulation and distribution. Get it, Katina, man? What's going on over there?
Not quite yet, but we're short the triple Qs, TQs.
Yeah.
69.40.
The Katina man is short. T triple Q's at 69.40, and I've got it up over. Oh, he's got it up on his screen there. There he is. 69.40s. Essentially, he's got like the high of that top right there. So we're gonna shout out the Katina man. He's $1 in the money. We're gonna hit the bangs.
Adam told me to take it.
Adam told him to take it. I love it. I love it. Well, Adam, you can't leave.
Hey.
Adam's got to stay now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Adam Delo, man, dropping hot lines.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
There he is. What do you got there, Joe?
Oh, yeah, no, we just entered some Qs here, some TQQs. We're looking to take it short. We started to curl over a little bit here, and we failed to break VWAP to the top side. So the same narrative over here. We're looking to follow the trend here, so we're a little bit in the money here. If we don't break this low a day, then maybe we'll punch out, but we're going to hold on to this for a little bit. If we come up here around 63.31, then we're going to take our size out here. So we got a little bit more size here, so we're looking for the breakdown. I would have liked a little bit bit better of an entry, but that's okay. Hey, can't absolutely be 100% precise on them all, especially because we're teaching you guys and all this stuff. So whatever you guys are looking at, I know there's a lot of stuff going on over in the Middle East, but other than that, let's look at some tickers. Throw your tickers in the chat, guys. We're going to talk about them. If you have your options questions, please throw them in there. I want to talk some options with you guys too. Don't forget, this Thursday we have Introduction to Options Part 1, all right? So this Thursday, make sure you tune in. We're going to be here, be there or be square. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that, whether you're new or you're old to options. We're going to go through the basics, and we're going to start right from the nitty-gritty. And it's tough. You know what? Learning options is tough. And when you first start off, it's not the easiest thing. But just look at it as a new language, a new financial instrument, right? And that's just something we want to do for you guys, is we want to add things to your trading arsenal. So come over, learn some options. We're going to talk options. We're going to start from the very beginning. And like I said before, I know we dove right into options with credit spreads and everything like that. So we're going to take a couple steps back. We're not going to dive head in like we did with the credit spreads. We're going to take it slow, nice and slow, and work you guys' way into trading options. So hopefully it's a little bit more familiar with you guys. We have TQQs working for us really nicely. And let's see what we got in the chat here. Why short TQQs instead of long SQQs? Kobe Brady? Well, it's an inverse ETF, right? You could always long it. If you're long biased and you feel like that you want to, the Katina man, he's printing up a storm over there. He's not stopping. He can't stop. He can't stop. Can't stop. Oh, no, shit. He can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Pull up. Look at that. Monsters. 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 Yes, brother. So yeah, just why not SQQ? Well, I'm gonna keep it just simplistic, right? I'm not gonna play the inverse ETF derivative of it. So yeah, to answer that question, we're just gonna play some TQQs. If it continues to move to the downside like it is right now, we're gonna look to take some off.
I didn't mean to upset you or anything.
Maybe we'll take some off.
Don't get upset, bro.
Maybe we'll take a little bit of our size off here now because we are starting to trade, and then we take risk off, right? So essentially now, so I'm risk off now, right? We've profited on this trade. We're risk off. If we come break even, then that's fine. We still got about like 66% of our position. The Katina man is $1 in the money, it sounds like, over on 2 positions. So we don't even know what to do with ourselves. Drinks on him tonight. So we don't know. We're having a good time here, and he's printing up. Yeah, drinks on Sharif apparently. Hey, drinks on Sharif. So we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna watch some football and some soccer, and the Qs are absolutely tanking. This is why we took it. We're gonna look to take a little bit more off the position. It's working out really well how we like here. We would have liked a little bit better of an entry. Would have increased that RVR a little bit, but we can't complain, right? We got something working. Oh, we're pulling back here now. And as the volume steps in, what I'm gonna do here now is we're gonna take a little bit more off the top, leave about 10%
You can show
or
his
so.
screen, guys. He's executing a position. Yeah.
And we're gonna take about another 30% off here. Leave us with not too much here if I know what I'm doing. Here we go. We're gonna take some off just to be sure because we failed to break that and make a new low. Other than that, Sharif, what's going on, my friend?
I got absolutely nothing, my man. Right now, I'm looking at these small caps, and they're all doing like basically nothing. So nothing involved with me there. I was looking at Boeing last time, you know, looking to play the belligerency trade, and it gave me another stop out. So I'm literally like 0 for 3 today. So it has not been my trading day. I'll look to do a little bit better, but we're extended either to the we're extended on the short right now. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, because everything really seems to be short with all the negative catalysts that are coming in, like this Microsoft VWAP retracement, that Meta VWAP rejection as well as Google as well coming into that volume weighted average price got rejected. So we'll keep an eye out there, but we're going to send it to Adair. She's got something for us.
This part of the show is brought to you by Trade the Pool. Becoming a funded trader means trading with a firm's money instead of your own. And at Trade the Pool, you'll first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power, and you get to keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm covers the risk. It's the perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Ready to become a funded trader? Join Trade the Pool. Scan that QR code or click the link in the description for more info.
Thank you very much, Adira. Gaurav saying Nike coming into this uptrend line from the market open. This area is also a high at 11 a.m., which could support. Let's have a look at what Gaurav is talking about. Nike's it's not bad. It's definitely outperforming the market, up 0.57 currently. No, that's the daily. Let's flip to the 5. Yeah, it's not a bad daily look, though, huh?
Looking
Here it is. So I think this is what Gaurav is talking about. He's talking about this trend line over here going through the lows. We're coming right into it right now, Gaurav. 88.90. Let me just update my side chart over here, because if I don't have the names on the watch list, they don't update on the chart, Joe. It's kind of a bizarre situation. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, you're actually getting support there live in living color right now, Gaurav. So good call out by you. Look, I've made too many mistakes today to take like these, you know, I don't want to say low probability trade, because this is a good trade. And there you go. It's manifesting as we speak. But just can't take too many. I don't have too many more shots. So we're going to have to be very careful with which shots we take right now on whatever we trade, because we're kind of like for everything at the moment. So NKE, good look by you, Gaurav. We're going to keep an eye on this one, but that is a sound trend line that you're basing this trade off. 88.90, I think it did get a bit of a bounce. But look, both moving averages curling down a little bit over here. So I'm going to pack my patience and look at that, see how it sets up. Joe.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Yeah, we have a really good question in here by the Piper, and I really want to dive into this. The person asked me, why did I take some out of a trade if I have it planned out? That's a great question. Why? Because as I emphasized before earlier, I'm looking for the break of low of day. Yeah, I took some of my position out, but I was going to hold some of my position for that potential low of day break. Now, why did I take some out is this. If we look at my chart here, you can see an isolated signature. You see how this reversal volume signature is larger than what we've seen in the past couple of minutes. That is a potential bottoming signal, and that we can potentially squeeze and go a little bit higher. And look exactly what happened. So me noticing from a time and sales standpoint, from a volume price analysis standpoint, that, hey, this can be a potential bottom that we don't want to break any lower. I've already locked in a little bit of profit. So with this definitive signal, I'm going to take a little bit more off. And why? And look exactly what happened. I eventually get stopped out break even though it may not fully reverse back into the VWAP or anything like that. We took some out because of the small nuances that the correlation of price and volume is telling us. And when you get more familiar with trading, you're going to see these small nuances within trading, and that's going to really help you choose when you want to get into a trade and when you want to get in out of a trade as well.
Absolutely, man. Well said there, Joe. Guy, I did not have my eyes on HUSA. So HUSA, put some respect on this one's name. Good look. Small cap gapper, or yeah, it is 14 million, almost $15 million market cap. 10.2 million shares traded today. You got about a 10 million share float, and we're going to shout at the NOS boss and his boys over there at Trade Ideas. What's the short float? D, 6.6%. definitely not negligible of, so we'll keep an eye on this one. Very respectful, at least initially, of the volume weighted average price. It pops into that 155. It's not giving you a huge notional move, but it's a predictable move there. Very respectful of the 10 on the way up. The retracements bring it into VWAP, and now kind of it's hovering here with the lows of these candles kind of shadowing the highs of this consolidation area. So let's see if this one can work its way back up again. I'm not going to be quick to jump into this. I'd rather get it at VWAP, so much so that we're going to place finally resting orders and not chase the stocks, because that has been my Achilles heel today. I've been chasing these bad boys, and that ain't the move. So we're going to go into Hausa. Okay, so this doesn't trade. I think it's on the MX. It is. So this guy's on the pink sheets, guys. It's on the AM. So we're going to set up something at 35s. Yeah, that's where exactly my volume weighted average price is. In fact, I think it's at 34, so I'm front running it here. This is going to be a very tight trade. It's going to literally have to hold 32s. Why? Because it was awfully respectful of 32s before, and if that buyer that pumped it off 32s is not there, I want no smoke. Again, this is all predicated upon it coming down, filling me at 35s. We'll see HUSA, good look on the day, and above the volume weighted average price. You can't make that argument for a lot of the small cap gappers that we had originally started out with. EONR, not. NFE, a little bit above, a little bit below. Look at UNFI breaking down. The only one right now that's still above volume weighted average price in small cap gapper world, UVIX obviously is not a small cap gapper, is INDO. And I traded INDO like a dang buffoon, okay? So I'd rather not, relive those bad memories again and try to trade something else. No, I'm kidding, of course. INDO sets up again, I'm getting back in. But those are the small cap gapper looks right now, Joe.
Beautiful.
What's the look on your end?
Yeah, no, this is just a prime example of why we get out of our trades after we take profit and we cut break even. So I had a profitable trade here. Imagine I held on to this and I still had size after locking in some profits, right? You get squeezed, and now you're going to make a profitable trade, a losing trade, and that's what we don't want to do, all right? So that's why just stick to your outs, guys, stick to your game plans, and then eventually you'll be able to continue on the profitable side. But this is just an absolute prime example of why we want to get out of trades when the market is telling us to do, right? So sometimes you just got to take what the market gives you. Yeah, you're going to be in those positions where it's like, oh, I took some off the top too early, and it continues to run. That's part of the game. We go through that stuff every day, so just get used to that. Even when you cut the trade and it works, or you don't cut the trade and it goes against you, not everything is always going to work in your favor, and that's totally fine. I know Hannah, I think Havana Woody was talking about her DJT calls. So right on, glad that you're working on those. I know you said you're a little out the money on them, but you're selling calls. So if you're selling those calls out of the money, then that's absolutely fantastic. Just don't get squeezed. Make sure you have your stops in place and you set those targets. Or even buy protection, you know what I mean? See, I think you were saying that you had a lot of shares. So, hey, sell those calls as long as you're covered, then you're good to go. So keep doing what you're doing with those options trades, and we like that type of stuff, Sharif.
Joe, so let's talk about this belligerencies trade that I've labeled belligerencies trade. What kind of window would we be looking at for something like this? Like, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I know you love your weeklies.
Yeah.
Is that how you play this trade? Like, say for example, you want to play some of these defense
stocks. Yeah. So what I would do, it would be more of a long-term play, I think, in there. Like maybe buy like some options a couple months out, right? We don't want theta to work too much against us, right?
No, I'm pointing at like, yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah. I thought there was something around me. We don't know. But no, to go on to what Sharif was saying, we want to hold on to those for a little bit. I mean, it also depends on your type of playbook that you're looking to do, right? If you're looking to scout, maybe get in and out, you can do the weeklies. But when you're doing weeklies, just be prepared that time is not necessarily in your favor. So the longer that your trade takes to work, then that means more time is working against you. And with this game, we need a little bit more time unless you're employing a totally different strategy.
I agree, man. Yeah. Well said there. And like, that's the thing about this too. It's like, it just keeps expanding. And we don't talk about politics, but there's a trade to be had here, right? And that's the thing. It's expanding, so this could be an interesting trade, sadly.
Absolutely, like defensive, man. Like we go weekly if we're looking to leverage the position and stuff like that, and just do something along those lines. Yeah.
Interesting. It's actually quite interesting. Vicky and Novak, Oxy printing. Yeah, dude, oil's printing. I was going to the bathroom there, and Wayne stopped me. He's like, "What the hell is happening with CL?" Well, the Middle East, that's what's happening. CL is up 4.8% CL, in case you're wondering, is the light Swede crude contract on the NYMEX. Here we're going to look at the futures. We are charting on the November contract right there. So this is what oil looks like right now. This is a dang rocket ship on oil, essentially, since the bell. Oil's up aggressively, 4.83%. Obviously, we've been depressed pricing. We got as low as 66.25, man, 71.53. Wow, that's a move for oil. Unsurprised by that, obviously, as the issue expands. Now, you know, when we look at the practical aspect of this, who's going to start producing to take production offline? Well, not really anybody, but the problem is the shipping channels, I think, in that area of the world could get affected, right? You're already hearing about blockades of certain countries by others, and that could expand, right? So it makes this a bit of a tougher look there. So interesting look right now on the CL. You're absolutely right. Oxy's up 3.7. From my estimation, though, the actual crude contract itself up the most, at least on my watch list. You're getting like low single digits for some of the oil adjacent names, but the actual contract itself up big, 4 2/3 right now. Flipping back to the small cap gapper HUSA, while Joe was dropping hot lines, this thing bumped up again into $1.50. I'm sitting here like a schmuck with $1.35. It doesn't even care about what I'm looking at, Joe. Nope. It's on its way up over here, but like we'll talk about that and much more when you get back from Madeira at the big desk.
Not too much has changed here in the crypto space since we last talked. We still have Ethereum just holding on to this 2,500 level. I believe last time we looked at this, we were around 2,511. Now we're at 2,509. Bitcoin here also around that 6,200 level, or 62.5, sorry. So not too much of a change, but a lot of these names still pretty weak here. Dogecoin, Solana down more than 4%. Avalanche pretty weak here as well. But there is one name that's been strong here today and also strong yesterday that I want to talk about, and that is this DAI. This is the 5-minute market cap chart here for this DAI. This DAI, this is one of these crypto-related names. It's been pretty strong over the last few days. One of the few that's actually positive here on the day as well, and was positive, a little bit flat on the day, but positive yesterday when a lot of these crypto names weren't. So this DAI potentially on watch here. Also worth noting, if you're looking for some of these defensive names, I've seen an ETF. This is a 3 times bullish defensive stocks. It's DFEN. Want to keep an eye on under 1 million shares in volume from what I'm seeing, but DFEN popping up right now as we continue to get news from Israel and Iran. Apparently, there's smoke rising up from Tel Aviv as of right now, guys.
Good job, Raymond.
Yeah, great stuff from Madeira there, as always.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dropping hot news, as always.
I want to mention D-Loaf dropping hot lines as well. Mara 15 saying it to me, that's your level, Sharif. Time to buy several hundred shares in your personal account. And I wrote back, I'm legitimately thinking of it. I got smoked on Mara earlier in the year for $1.50 loss with big shares. That's okay, you learn from that experience. He goes on to say, I think daily cross about 14.75 would be okay, so closer to that price, the better. Shout out to D-Loaf, let's do some charting. MARA, I apologize in advance. I know this is going to take a longer time to load. I don't know why my platform doesn't like Mara, but here's the $15 level on MARA, okay? And this goes back a hot minute. And it goes back all the way to September 2022. We were using 15 as resistance. We broke through it. There was this outlying event, sure, July 2023, we did break through it. But now look at the amount of times we've used 15 as support. Up here, January 2024, hold. What's this? March 2024 hold. Again, May 2024. Then you have Black Friday, that early August, Monday. We dip below it, but look where the closing print is. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. The closing print's way higher at 17. We did dip into 13.5. By the end of the day, we closed at 17. And then there's this outlying event over here where we dip. But remember, the 3-period rule that we talked about in technical analysis, it's either 3% or 3-period. This doesn't fit the 3-period rule because you reclaimed it on the 3rd. Look at that. And now we're back at that level. Let me make the other side of that argument, though. I'm waxing poetic to use an Adair term about 15. Let me tell you about this. Lower highs all the way through. What do we get from that, Joe? Cheese!
That bottom, dang.
It doesn't have to happen, but it's a possibility. It's about a game of risk.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, I like that you're pulling up these crypto miners just to express my frustration with Bitcoin here because I don't know what it's doing. Bro. Come on, we're supposed to be at $250,000 by now, and we're just hovering around these levels. But that's okay. We're gonna hold. We're hodlers on Bitcoin. We're in this game for the long term, so we're looking to have some fun on that. Right now, we're in some TQQs, guys. This is just kind of what I want to show you. Why did I get out of this trade? I got stopped out break even. That's perfectly fine. That's exactly what we want to do. But we enter the trade again and we get a better price, all right? So this is how you want to trade, right? So you want to cut those trades. We talked on this yesterday. Sean brought it up as well, too. Is that there's a reason why we get out of these trades because there's always going to be an equal or better opportunity to get back into them. So now I'm going to look for that bottom break again. We're going to look for the break of this pivot low. And if we continue lower, then that's fantastic. We're going to hold on to these shares for a little bit. So we'll see what's going on there. The market isn't really overall doing anything. It had some fun yesterday after JP was on, but nothing extravagant or anything out of the ordinary. We're starting to pull back. We're down about 1% or so on the SPY and about 1.7 a point and a quarter on the Qs. So we're going to look, maybe we continue to the downside. I know some of the megas are weak. So we're looking to continue with the trend. And if we break the bottom here, we're going to be looking real nice here, Sharif.
This is an interesting one. Carlos Venegas, looking at RTX calls, SPY puts, and VIX calls heavy.
Heavy.
I like that,
love
heavy
it,
at the end there. That's a good look.
Love it.
Because basically you're betting on defense stocks, betting against the market, and betting on volatility.
And that's absolutely fantastic, right? So when we're selling, we know when we're selling that there's going to be an increase of volatility. So when you're buying those calls, expect the VIX to pop. And as you can see, the TQQs are absolutely selling right now. So we like those RTX calls, the SPY puts. That's fantastic. Hey, if you're going to go flat out puts, that's great. Maybe mitigate your downside of it a little bit. Buy some puts too, or sell some puts for some coverage. But hey, hold on to those. Those are great trades. We really like the VIX trades there because again, we're increasing in volatility. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take a little bit off the top here on TQQs. We're going to lock in some of those gains straight to the bicep, and that's just how we want to do. That's what we want to do, right? So if we're going to have some of our sides. And if we break this level here at 68.07, then we're going to still be holding on to about 75% of our position, Sharif.
All right. Still keeping my eye on HUSA. It did dip down into 137s. I'm waiting for 135. That's still the volume weighted average price. I am cognizant of that topping till into the $0.50. I still think VWAP holds. I'm not going to give it that much room. So VWAP's going to have to hold. Otherwise, there's going to be no smoke on this side of the desk because I have not traded well. So that's the look there. Now, Boeing also flushing. So it's breaking the 10, the 20. Now it's on the way to the 50. I should tell you that 153-ish, thereabouts, not exact level, is the volume weighted average price. Then break even on the day for Boeing is 152. So could we give back the entire move? Ooh. I mean, I know Boeing is not the biggest defensive stock name. Obviously, they're involved with defense. I think they make components for multiple airplanes, engines, etc. I know General Dynamics does that as well. But we're going to go to Adair in a hot second over here. I just want to see Indo is bouncing off the volume weighted average price again. I missed this 360 entry. Adair, what do you have for us?
We're at the SPY here, the precipice of making a lower low here on that 3-minute chart for the S&P 500 as we get more news coming out here of the Middle East. Apparently, this Israeli Army radio saying that there's been almost 200 missiles launched into Israel from Iran. Also saying here, apparently, that we've got some suspension of traffic. I know certain airports, including Jordan Airport, has temporarily suspended air traffic. Lots going on here with regards to these rocket launches, these missiles being launched. Now we have air traffic suspended. If there's any tickers that you guys are looking at today, make sure so that you like and subscribe, because if you subscribe, you can vote for your ticker of choice for that afternoon segment at 2 p.m. here, guys.
And Joe and I just reflecting on like what it must be like to have that as part of your life. Hear sirens, just, you know, they're not hurricane sirens or tornado sirens. No, they're bombs.
They're bombs.
They're coming.
Dangerous. So our condolences, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody over there. So that's unfortunate.
You got a great question here from Frost 1349. Options question, Joe. When selling weekly calls, do you close after a certain percentage gain or you hold till it expires?
Ooh, that's a great question. So here, we can answer that question in a couple of ways. All right. So if I were to create a spread and I'm selling calls, if I'm going to collect about, so say, let me rephrase this. If I collect about 75% of the max profit within the first couple of days, then I'm going to close that position, because why am I going to hold on to a position for 3 more days, be susceptible to market movement for 25%? So that's a great question. If it's kind of lingering around and we didn't collect that much premium into day 3 or 4 and there's still about 50%, then I'll just hold them to expiry. But if I'm around 75% within the first couple of days, then I'm just going to close the position, lock in that 75% return on the premium that I've received, and then who cares about the other 25%, right? We don't got to worry about the market or anything if we're going to gap up or gap down, and then we look for another position to put on. Maybe we just roll the position, we lock in that premium that we collected, and then maybe roll the position. Look how we can continue that trade, but we're not going to hold anything if we collect the majority of the premium in the first couple of days of opening it.
Guys, there's been a lot to do today, so I've been completely neglecting this. Get into the chat and vote right now. I see you guys already voting. I didn't do my job today reminding you guys that we have the afternoon segment, which is worthless without you guys. If you guys are not voting for your favorite tickers, the Katina Man and the Neil do not have anything to drop hot lines about. And I know a lot of you guys want to know how they would have traded certain names. If they traded, they'll tell you how. If they didn't, they'll tell you why or how they would have. So get into the chat right now. I got my man Jeremy Newman. You forgot the dollar sign, Jeremy. It's join dollar, then Mara, dollar sign. There we got my man Zion Lala. He's voting for CVNA. Then we got my boy there, Kevin Gomez. He wants to see Indo. I'll tell you that. I'm not going to be covering that because I did very poorly on Indo today. I'm kidding. Obviously, I'll cover for whatever you want. We've got other people talking about different names as well. You got Roger talking about the VIX. He's also talking about RTX. How about, let's see, USO being talked by Jorge Alvarado. USO up 3%, he says. Fantastic look there. How about the SPY? I know my man Bears versus Bulls loves voting for the SPY. Shout out to the world's greatest moderator there. So get into the chat every day. Pretty Panda talking about EONR waking up again. I did poorly on that one as well, but I did poorly on everything, so it's okay. Justin is voting for Affirm. Shout out to Justin. Thank you for getting your vote in. Kyle Lynn joined Tesla. Get into the chat, guys. Vote for your favorite tickers every day. Otherwise, the big kahunas won't have anything to wax poetic about during that afternoon rundown, Joe. What'd you vote for, Joe?
Uh-oh.
I only did that because I know you didn't vote.
I didn't vote yet. Oh, it's on me, so that's it. Then you put me on the spot. Yeah, of course. Hey, man, we like to have fun on here, too. So I didn't vote. I'll be sure to absolutely vote. We have a great question from Odyssey Flights. How do you roll a position? That's great. You can just open the exact same spread the way you opened it originally. We could refer that to as rolling. Even some brokers have a rolling option so that when you have this trade, you can just go into your broker and select. In your trades, when you go to put on a trade, just roll the position. So that's just the way. So when I say roll something, essentially I have the same thesis. I'm just moving that spread either up or down just to collect the same premium, but based on the same thesis. As you can see here, we're gonna just touch on the cues here. We don't wanna break this low here for some reason, and that's okay. I'm keeping my eyes on Apple. I got a couple fills in the personal when we weren't paying attention on Apple on some spreads. So we'll keep our eye on that. So maybe we can rebound there. We'll see what happens. But if we break this low, this market can definitely head lower, especially with the political unrest and geopolitical unrest that we have going on over there in the Middle East. So we're going to see, we still have a little bit of this position left here. I didn't size in exactly how I wanted. I should have been a little bit bigger, but that's okay. Hey, there's always going to be another trade. So we're just going to keep looking here. We're going to see if we break this bottom. If it does, hey, look, maybe we add, right? Maybe we add to this position because that's what we want to do. But we're squeezing. This market is resilient. It's super strong. So those continuation down days are hard to come by. So when you can get anything on the short side, in my opinion, you take advantage of it, just like the Cantina man. He was absolutely lighting up Google over there. So we already know drinks are on him tonight, and so that's okay. We're going to continue to have fun here, and we're just going to see if we can break here lower on the cues. Sharif.
Fantastic, man. I'm back in Husa over, well, I'm not back. I got in initially here in Husa. All right, wow. The price went in my direction. I'm just kind of still candle that got sold off quick as you like. I still have my planned DC8 dollar cost average to defend the volume weighted average price on HUSA. Same place it was last time. VWAP, at least for the moment, still has it moved up in its spot there on the chart. So keep in mind, but this is the trade that I missed. I was hesitant to get back into Indo because I traded it poorly today. It's my worst performing name on the day, far and away. And when it got back into VWAP, I was very interested in it. Okay, let me show you exactly what I'm looking at here at on the 5 minute. But I was trigger shy. Why? Because I got cut up like an idiot on it all day. And now this gives me the best move off that 360. I was contemplating entry at 365. Now we're knocking on the door of 40, 395s. We're at the local highs there, 410 or there. So get it, Joe. And you know, I missed the trade there, and that's all right. We'll look to do a little bit better. But INDO, guys, it is breaking the previous area high. The previous area high was hanging out at 390. Now we're knocking the door 4. We know that 410 is the HOD. So it's a good look for it. This one kind of slept a little bit, took a little bit of a nap during the midday, but now it's awakening, knowing that in about 45 minutes, we're going to get that more liquid time of the day starting at around 2. So keep our eye on this one. I don't think I take this as a breakout trade, guys, because I've done poorly on it, Joe, and I don't have much in terms of risk left that I can kind of afford to take these type of trades. My trade here would have been on the entry at support. I missed it, so it either has to set up again similarly to this one, or I want no smoke because I'm not going to be taking the top there 410 long. So fantastic look there. UVIX continues to go. SOXS, obviously these are not small cap gappers, but they are in play, hence why they're on my chart. This is short basically the semis, and you can see we just printed highs. So the semis are absolutely bleeding. Not even one name, Joe, in my semis watch list, and there's plenty of names, as you can see. Semis and then EVs started over here. Every single thing red in semis right now, basically shadowing the overall market. So unsurprised with that there, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the market is absolutely weak. We're continuing to the downside. We're looking to potentially take a second leg down here. And that's okay because we're going to look to join this trend, and we're actually in the trend. So if we can get cues to continue here, then we're looking pretty, right, in Suntan City. So, hey, don't fight things, guys. We just want to continue what we're doing, keep taking the entries, punch out when we're supposed to punch out, punch in when we're supposed to punch in. We like to keep things absolutely simple, and that's the same thing with options, right? With options, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them right here, is, hey, before we get into absolutely trading them and say you're new or anything like that, guys, be prepared. Yes, you have minimal capital requirements when trading options, but they are a leveraged derivative. If you do not employ your stops the way you're supposed to, then you're going to get chewed up pretty bad, and we don't want that, right? We want longevity in this. There's tough days in trading, and we all know that. Anybody who's been trading for a long time know that, hey, not every day is the easiest day, and that's absolutely fine. And the quicker that you get to be able to accept that, then the better off you are in the long run, right? So that's just one thing that we really want to work on and continue what we're doing. But here, before I talk and answer this next upcoming question, we are off to Adara.
Novo Nordisk here pushing into new lows with increasing volume. Novo Nordisk NVO announcing that they're planning to ship products to and from the U.S. through air freight just to avoid some of the disruptions that could be caused by those seaport strikes. So again, NVO providing a strike update, getting a little bit of extra volume attention right now, though, pushing to the downside. Also, more updates here coming out of the Middle East. Iran, I guess now posting through its UN on, on social media here, saying that they're now ready for any retaliation after the attack and that they justify the attack. So SPY pushing into new lows with that update, guys.
Thank you for that, Adara. Joe, I'm about to drop hot lines. Just want to let you know that Carlos in the chat reporting the White House speaks about the situation in the Middle East in about 13 minutes, lucky number 13. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate or not. Just want to let you know, and that's usually market movement.
Woo! Yeah. All right, so hey, we got a good question in here from Justin. Joe, do you have a specific strategy for setting option stops with IV and theta in mind? I always have good targets and ranges, but it's hard to pin down accurate stops. And you know what? Stops on options are a little bit more complicated. Theta is something that is time decay, right? So you can't really base a stop off of theta. But implied volatility, as it increases, you can definitely do that. So if you see an increase in implied volatility on whatever ticker that you're trading, then hey, you might get stopped out. But what I like to do is when I create a credit spread, I use a percentage metric, right? And that percentage is flat out simple, 100%. So if I receive $50 in premium, my stop is $50. So that means I'm credited $50 on a credit spread. I have to return that $50, and then I have to return additional $50 of my own money because I never owned the $50 in the first place. That's from a credit spread standpoint or a credit based trade. If you're doing a directional trade, you can use a percentage metric on the value of the contract. So say you paid $100 or $1, $100 for that contract, you can use a percentage metric of say 20 to 30%, right? You don't want that contract to expire worthless. And if the trade isn't working for you right away and say the contract value is about 20 to 30%, absolutely cut that trade, right? Because you can always get in. Fabian's giving me the side eye. Yeah, we got a side. Ooh, do you have to pay interest on that? We don't know. Trudeau will find a way to tax you on it, though, so we don't know. So we're going to wait on that one. So we don't know if we have to pay interest on that one. I don't think we do. But again, back to your question, hey, just put a percentage metric, right? Have an idea of the value of that contract that you want to lose. We know that options are a volatile instrument, so just make sure you have your outs defined, right? So again, if I said $1, you paid $1 for it, or $100, put that stop to about 30 to 40%, and hopefully that will work out for you.
All right, guys, I've got some channels here on the side. I'm watching now as the belligerencies take or unfold, so I'll be able to report to you guys on it live. As things happen right now, it's everything Adara has already said, that, the belligerencies are basically Iran's firing missiles so far, okay? What's that, Adara?
Give it the LNO.
Yes, of course. All right, so that's a look there. Still involved in this HUSA trade. It did work its way up to 47s and then got rejected or got sold off. We're printing 45s right now. Not a whole lot for me to report with respect to this trade, but how about this one? Look at this buddy over here.
Let's go.
INDO. We're not involved in it, Joe, but this is interesting because it got into that technical resistance level. So we printed 410 as the high right at 1130. And then look at this candle over here. Yeah, you guessed it, 409. It always works that way, right? So we're not printing it quite yet. I'm still awfully interested on this trade. If it can give me another VWAP retracement, I think certainly I get into it this time. I think this is setting up for something called a VWAP hold high of daybreak. Essentially, I talked about it yesterday, but I'm going to talk about it again. We get these bigger moves and these small cap gappers in the more liquid time of the day, that 9:30, that 10:30, even that 11. And then the lower volume part of the day takes place, what we're in right now, and we've been in since, say, 11:30 or so. And then the price action there kind of does exactly what you're seeing, consolidates, creates a high, then ranges in between that high and the volume weighted average price, only to break the top during the more liquid time of day, that power hour, 2:30 to 4. So if this sets up this way, I'm interested, definitely, given the current time, 120 right now, getting back in near that volume weighted average price area. Whether it lets me get in at that price or not, an entirely different story. But INDO is the small cap gapper that is in play today, and I traded it poorly, but it doesn't mean that that's going to be the status quo from now on. Looking to do a little bit better on it if it does set up. So keeping my eye on that. Yes. Okay, so now it looks as if, Joe, the missiles are landing on 3 different cities, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa. And I wasn't joking when I said Haifa earlier, because that's a major city in the north of Israel. So Haifa now also targeted as well, Joe.
Yeah, so it looks like the Iron Dome is in full effect over there. So our hopes and prayers go out to everybody over there. We don't want to see any of that stuff at all. No. We just want peace amongst us all. But to touch back on the markets here, we punched out of GQQs here. We're all out of that position. I mean, we couldn't ask for really much more on this trade. As you can see, we entered here on the first trade. We took a little bit off here. We left a little bit of a runner, and we got stopped out break even. We ended up getting a better entry on this trade after it failed to break VWAP to the top side. And then we got a really nice exit here, and then an okay exit here. There's always room for improvement. So when we were looking to improve, we got to see, hey, can I have held this for a little bit longer? And to back onto like, why aren't I holding to target, which was a great question previously. Hey, I just wanted to punch out. We're not breaking this bottom here, and I don't know why. Maybe it's a little bit slower of a grind and see if we can continue to the downside, but that's okay. If it does, it does. I mean, how much more can you ask for when you're taking these types of trades and you get the majority of the move that you're looking for? Other than that, guys, just throw your questions, throw whatever ticker you guys are looking in the chat, and we're going to go over them. I know Boeing, I think, Boeing's absolutely pulling back here.
Yeah, man.
VWAP. It's that VWAP now, and Sharif and I were looking to go long on this thing. So good thing we didn't put any stake into Boeing, because we would be scratching our heads. I would have to apply a little more Rogaine probably at the end of the day. So that's it. So that's it. Yeah, so that's it. But hey, it's pulling back here. We're waiting for some things to happen. Maybe it holds VWAP and we can continue to the top side. I mean, the volume is dwindling, so that can be a positive sign here. And on this weak pullback. So maybe it takes a bounce off of VWAP and we continue to the top side, Sharif.
Absolutely, Joe. You're absolutely right. This is the chart on Boeing as it continues to bleed. I just want to show you guys the 5-minute look on BA. It crested out right at that 156.40. Since that time, it has been a symphony of lower lows and lower highs. And then you got the cross there between the 10 and the 20. You know, not one that I use intraday, but definitely one that you can have your eye on. Volume weighted average price, a skosh, a tiny little bit below that 153 level. 153 also has price action, previously resistance, could act as support. Not saying it will. Why? The opening print right there, we ranged with the closing prints all below that 153 for a period of what? 9:55 till around 10:20. So, you know, make of that what you will. It could be an established level depending really on your criteria. But 153 is the level I'm looking at. 152.86 currently is where VWAP is at on BA. Not going to try to catch a falling knife on this one. It's got to set up. Otherwise, I want zero smoke. Don't have enough risk to take on big attempts, names. Thank you, Joe.
She's a little more expensive, isn't she?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, $153, not where it was.
No,
definitely not where it was. Gorev, maybe a trend line can be drawn on BA from pre-market lows, can be double confluence with VWAP if it gets there. I feel you, Gorev. I know what you're looking at. I think I'm just going to make it super simple. It's going to either be VWAP or that 153, and I'm not even going to try to catch a falling knife. It's going to have to prove to me support at that level. We'll see what comes. We'll get what we get, and we won't get upset. INDO, I'm going to get upset about this one, though. I have the right to get upset every once in a while. Guy, come on, bro. The right idea. Terrible execution, Joe. Terrible. This should be the poster boy for poor execution. But it is hovering around 4, guys, having a little bit of resistance with that 4. 3 5-minute candles, each one with lower highs, and they're all topping tail candles as I see it. Here's the INDO 5-minute chart. This is what I'm looking at right now. It's breaking down below 4 again. But if it sets up at that 3 mid-60s now, because VWAP's moving up a little bit as the price action moves up as well, I'm going to be looking at getting in near the volume weighted average price. Nice little gnarly sell-off here off that 408 touch. Now we're down into 390, so good look there. Let's flip back to HUSA. Okay, this moved up into 48, or no, 47 and a half. I'm still waiting at 49. Not a bad look. It's definitely not going to make my day green, but at least it'll get the a positive execution, at least for one, man. My goodness, what are you looking at, Joe?
I'm looking at Apple here, and it's just absolutely breaking my heart as it continues to move to the downside, and that's okay. We're down about just under 4% here on the day, and it's just dragging the rest of the market down too. All these Mag 7s are relatively weak on the day, so expect a little bit of a pullback in the market, and that's what happens when you have these mega caps when they're weak, right? They tend to dictate sometimes where the market goes. So we're going to see what's going on with that. Maybe we're going to take a look at some other sectors as well, like XLF and XLE, because I know that oil is apparently buzzing. So maybe we'll find some strength in XLE and stuff like that. So we'll take a look on that. Maybe to speak of it, we'll pull up XLE right now, just for the heck of it. And let's see here. And yeah, it's one of the stronger sector ETFs. So if you're looking to join a trend into strength, XLE may be your way to go, right? So we're going to look to maybe here if we pull back a little bit. The volume is a little bit increasing here on the pullback, so we're going to keep our eyes on XLE. If it decides to grind a little bit higher, up 2.1%, 2.2% on the day. So it might stall that we are getting a little bit later into the lunchroom hour, the lunchtime hour. So we'll see what's going on with that. We're going to pack our patience. We're going to hold our horses, and we're going to see. We're going to wait a little bit here and see if we can get into something that's really strong.
Yeah, I respect that, man, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do right now. I don't want to be quick to jump in to the trade on Indo. It pulled back nicely into the 10 exponential on the 5, and then, basically zigged and zagged a little bit. I'm going to try to stick with my bias. I want something in the 60s, low 70s, and it's going to really depend upon where VWAP is. So as VWAP ascends, because the price action is ascending, so too will my ideal entry spot. Currently, VWAP at 61s or 62s, can't really see it too well. So we're going to keep my eye on that. All right, we're moving up nicely here on HUSA, not by a lot. I'm hoping for a surge in volume because now we got into 48s, now printing 47s. I'm hoping for a surge in volume that takes us above this 50 penny area, but fully ready for 50 penny rejection. I do very much like these higher lows and higher highs since bouncing off VWAP on HUSA. Dad Trader, Yo Sharif, had to exit a trade because of a siren and had to head to the shelter. I live in Tel Aviv. By the way, love the show, watching the shelter. We're hoping you are okay, my man. Dad Trader, thank you very much for the 15, I think that's shekels. Thank you very much, my man. I'm hoping that you are okay. Your family is okay as well. And, let us know how it goes. We're wishing you the best, my man. Get it, Dara.
It's the afternoon edition here of Money Talks. As you can see, the GXY here even stronger than when we last looked at it last time in the morning. I think we were on 101.17. Now we're at 101.35 here. Again, gorgeous bottom here forming at that just above that 100-point area. The next level of resistance to me seems like it's about 0.4 points to the upside. So if we get to that 101.75, a bit of a double top earlier on that one-day chart. Of course, some of the key things to think about today are going to be the ongoing attacks in the Middle East. We did have Israeli media reporting the launch of 100 missiles by Iran at Israel. We also had JOLTS job openings and some other economic data prints today. JOLTS higher than expected here one more time. So it was 8.04 million versus estimates here of 7.64 million. We also had a revised upward print. So our previous print here for July initially 7.673 million, now being revised up to 7.711 billion. So higher revision and pretty decently higher than expected prints here for JOLTS, which is the key number of the day. In terms of economic speak, though, we do have Fed speaking here later today. Fed's Bostic, Barkin, and Collins all speaking at 6:15 p.m. Then tomorrow we've got Fed's Hammock, Fed's Muslim, Fed's Bowman, and Fed's Barkin, and that's all going to be before 12 p.m. tomorrow. So lots of excitement here in these markets as we, again, continue to monitor the ongoing situation here in the Middle East. Most recent headline I'm seeing is that apparently we have President Biden ordering U.S. military to shoot down Iranian missiles. So I'll keep you guys updated. We did have a bit of a double bottom forming here in the SPY, currently pushing back up on the 15-minute chart. We'll see how everything unfolds, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. I do appreciate it. Adara, keeping up to speed with everything. We're going to thank Adara for that. Shout out to Adara. Yeah. Keeping my eye on what's happening here. Nothing new, guys, on that. I'm just keeping my eye on INDO as well. We also got a nice little bounce there on Boeing off the volume-weighted average price, or close to around that 153 area. We're going to keep an eye on this one. What are you looking at, Joe?
I'm looking at BA. We're going to start to hold VWAP here, and we're going to emphasize exactly what you said, Sharif. We don't want to catch a falling knife here at all. So we're going to wait. We're going to see if this thing sets up, if it decides to hold VWAP and maybe start to pull back to the top side, because it has retraced a lot of the move that it gave, that it put up today. So if we can continue with the second leg of this trend to the top side, we're going to look to take a little bit of size here on BA. But as of now, it's not looking too pretty, right? So we're not going to fight it. We're going to wait for our opportunity. If it shows up, then we're going to join the trend as always, and we're going to look to do that. So yeah, totally looking forward to that. So say if we were set up there, XLE, it's kind of just doing its thing. I mean, if you're looking at these sector ETFs, these things aren't momentum trading stocks. You usually have to sit in a little bit of a grind, and that's okay. So whenever we're ready, if this thing sets up, maybe we join the strength here on XLE, and if we pull back towards VWAP, that's fine. I like a VWAP hold. So if it holds VWAP, then we're going to look to go long. But that's exactly kind of what Boeing's doing right now. It might put in a little bit of a pullback, so we'll look to see if we can pull up BA here. And we'll do just that. And yeah, so it's holding here. So you know what? I might, the old Sharif, wet my beak. You know what I mean? So we're going to do a little beak wetter here. So maybe we'll dip our toes in the water and see what's going on. But again, I don't like these topping tail signals. That doesn't signal buying strength to me, right? So exactly. So the buyers push the price up, and then the sellers won the battle and pushed the price back down. Even though it did close green, that's okay. We're gonna see, it could be some indecision here, which I like, right around VWAP. So you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm going to wet my beak. We're in some BA because I like how it's starting to turn around a little bit. The volume is starting to step in, and that's exactly what we like to see. We already have a definitive out on this. If we break VWAP, then our thesis is wrong. Our trade is wrong. And then we're on to the next one. So there's no need to hold on to losers. But as you can see, it is working for us. Bang. And that's exactly what we want to see. So we're looking, we might even add on this position. Now we're moving back to the top side. So I might look to take a little bit off the top here shortly, because we do have some shares, and it is a little bit of an expensive stock. So we're going to look to take a little bit. We're going to profit. Once we take some profit off here, we're automatically set to break even.
We're automatic. I love it, bro. You have a way better price than me, and I'm kind of jealous.
Oh, you in it too?
Yeah, I got in a little bit before you. But yeah, so we're going to have to hold this area over here, curling. But as Joe said, you know, these topping tail looks are not really indicative of that intense buying. And I submit to you, Joe, there isn't a whole lot of intense buying today on much of anything.
No.
You really, maybe the small cap gapper is a little bit of an exception there, but that's really not market dependent. So we're weaseling into that 50 penny area. I'm looking at wetting my beak, but there is some selling at these levels. And so that is concerning me a little bit there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I've set up a dip trade to take advantage of the range being established between 4 and the volume weighted average price on INDO. I've set my resting entry for that level. Currently, HUSA, it did reject 48s. I had my beak wetter at 49, my profit taker. It is now moving back into my entry at 41. Not the look I'm looking for there, but I'm going to pack my patience. I still like this particular trade. But Joe, BA zagging. I think this is probably a short to pop kind of situation. I really don't know. I don't feel like I have the right read on this market. The Piper saying NNE. I'll have a look at that in a hot second. I just want to see whether I get stopped at a Boeing again today. It's been a bit of a tougher trading day for me right now. Wished probably I set up a little bit differently on this trade. I would have liked a little bit more at 153 to take advantage of that whole dollar rather than waiting for the half dollar. And essentially, too, what I was not excuse me, what I was not alive to was the resistance level that we set up at 40s. Look how many 1-minute candles, all of which rejected at that 40 penny area. So, you know, not saying we don't curl above that. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, you know, expect resistance there because that was certainly a support level earlier. So, you know, if you're going to get in, you got to get in south of that area. So that's a mistake on my part, but wouldn't be the first today. INDO bouncing off 76. So this one not quite making it down into my area of 67. So was looking to get into that one, but that one doesn't want to give me an entry. Boeing right back into that $0.50 area again, Joe.
Let's go.
You're in the money on that one, man.
I'm out of it now. I got stopped out break even. You're still in it, so that's fantastic. It's gonna go to the top side here. It looks like a lot. Yeah.
I think we've got that seller at 40.
Yeah,
so.
we might have that seller at 153.40s, but we'll see. It did just reject it pretty hard. But as you can see on the trade here, we got a little bit of our move. We don't mind the entry here, and we took some off the top, and then it came back and it stopped us out. That's all right. A little scalp, that's okay. We were looking for a little bit more of a continuation. But I mean, as long as we don't break this low, Sharif, you still might be golden because this thing is strong. It's just buzzing. We're moving to the downside. We're not too sure about it. But hey, that's okay. We don't know what's gonna go on. It could go higher. It could go lower. We don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what the overall markets are up to. We'll see. We'll pull up the SPY here because it is absolutely weak. Let's pull up the SPY here. It is weak. So there we go. There we go.
I think I would have done equally as well.
Yeah.
The Katina man just gave me the 8-ball, and we have our own, obviously, so I thanked him for that. But I was just telling him, you know, I could have traded that way. Take a trade, shake the 8-ball, get in, get out. Based upon how I've traded today, straight up the 8-ball would have produced better results.
It's much easier. We just trade 8-ball from now on, so that we that's all we're doing is just trading the 8-ball now. So we like it. We like it. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it's working here a bit for you, Sharif. We got SPY kind of pulling up in towards VWAP. We failed to break this low here, which can be a positive signal, but it can be just another liquidity grab. Come around here, hover around VWAP, and then make the additional leg to the downside. But any squeeze upon that you see the volume, so that looks like a genuine move to me. The market is unsure right now. We have a lot of geopolitical unrest right now with what's going on. So the market doesn't want to know if it wants to go higher or go lower, but we never want those types of things going around in the world. So hey, we're just going to look. If we break here, watch out, guys. You can definitely look for some more downside, maybe buy some puts on that or sell some calls, covered calls, I should say. We don't want to sell anything naked. So we'll look out for that. And BA, it's still hovering around a little bit. So guys, just make sure you throw what you're looking at in the chat.
Yep.
We're going to look a little bit more. So thanks, the detail buff. Appreciate the love, brother. Much love. So if you have any options questions, we're definitely going to answer those the best that we can, for sure.
Certainly, Joe. And I wanted to let everybody know oil is moving because of the Middle East, guys. So everybody's asking what's going on with oil, what's going on with oil. There's nothing specific to oil, but it is a Middle East belligerencies causing this to exactly happen. We know Iran produces oil, but I don't think their production really affects as much of the global supply because they've been offline for a hot minute now. What I think is really happening is now we're talking about the shipping lanes that might be threatened here, right? So we're talking about some of these countries or perhaps, you know, embargoes, whatever. There's going to usually be a little bit of trouble with respect to something like that. So that's what I think is really keeping some of the oil levels higher. And there we go. We're going to get stopped out on Boeing. And there is the loss there on Boeing. So that's the look. Going to leave that one. Guys, I literally am 0 for 4 today. So that is the look. Unless this HUSA thing does what I wanted to do. It's still putting in higher lows, so I'm not really completely, I'm not completely turned against this trade, but we'll see if it continues to hold up. I like how it's holding above that 40 penny area. There does seem to be a buyer around 40 pennies. Let me go quickly over here to INDO because coming into my level, and I'm not going to have too much risk with this one, and it bounces off 68s. I was waiting at 67s. Okay, it's just been that kind of day. All good there. We'll see if it can come into my entry, but it's going to have to hold the volume weighted average price. Yeah, nothing really to report on there. Just keeping an eye on my side screen because we're keeping an eye on this stuff in the Middle East. So anything there to report on, we'll definitely let you guys know. I want to let you know that you guys should be voting. You guys got 9 minutes left to get your votes in every day, baby. We got Alex T talking about LMT. We have Jorge talking about Tesla. What else we got? We got Sean James talking about SMCI. Get into the chat. Vote for those tickers. Have the Katina man, have the Neil look at it for you. They're going to be on in 18 minutes. And if you want to see how they traded it or why they didn't or how they would have, throw that into the chat. Gatekeeper was asking about why oil is tanking. I'm sure they'll talk about that. Dude, 101, love your name in the chat. You voted for Nvidia, but you forgot the dollar sign, my man. Get back into the chat and throw that dollar sign into your name. I love how Mela voted properly for Nike, but you wrote Nike. That's not the ticker. It's NKE. So get into the chat and vote for it correctly, Joe. Roger Ortega talking about Apple catching a bid into 224s. Get into the chat, Roger. Vote for Apple. Let me know how you've traded it today, too. I'd love to hear what Roger has to say. He's always there in the chat, doing the absolute most in a good way. Thank you guys for voting. I like it. I like it. But just Ray, you got to put the word join. Exclamation point. Here it is again, guys. Exclamation point. Join. Space. Dollar sign and the ticker of your choice. If Boeing goes above 153.50, Joe, I'm going to smash the keyboard like the Katina man smashed the keyboard. I'm kidding, Katina man. He'll do it again. That was content, bro. That was content is king, Katina man. Yeah, he knows what's up, baby. No, we're kidding, of course. Katina man, absolute OG today, killing it on the T-triple-Qs. We're always keeping an eye on what the Katina man is trading, and it gives me an opportunity to tell you that we have another channel. And that channel is only information, informational only channel. It has the Katina man's trades, Neil's trades, I think so. There it is, the Chilean Nightmare doing the absolute most in a fantastic way, and you can see all the data there. Only trades, yes. The Katina man is short. T-triple-Q 69.38. Neil short Rivian 10 1/3. You can see all their entries, all their exits. Shout out to the OGs there, doing it absolutely crazy. Love both of them. What are you looking at, Joe?
Well, I'm looking at BA. I took a second entry here on BA. It's not looking too pretty, so we're not sitting in Suntan City with this one. But hey, we're just gonna wait here a little bit. We do have our definitive out. I was a little bit delayed on the entry. I'm not overly happy with the entry, but that's okay. As I looked at it, it started to curl over. So I wanted to join the party. So if BA is partying, I'm here to join the party with them. But hey, we don't know what it's gonna do, right? So Katina Mancy is gonna join us too.
Hey.
We shook the 8 ball shortly, not too long ago. It said very doubtful, but today the 8 ball may be wrong. So we don't know, but it's never wrong, and it's proving out the 8 ball is never wrong.
Shake it, Ram Ram. What does it say?
What do you got, Ram Ram?
Ram Ram, ask it. Is Arsenal going to beat Paris Saint-Germain? All right, get it, Ram Ram.
We're waiting.
Yeah, Ram Ram, you're alive. You know this, right? Fabian.
We don't know.
Broken.
No, Fabian, do it so we both can.
She's broken.
She's broken.
She's
okay.
broken.
Well,
all right, that's all right.
There.
Hey, that's okay.
I'm not surprised there.
We're not surprised. So hey, we use it too much, so it's broken. So okay, we'll see what BA is doing. We're slowly crawling. I think we curl up here a little bit, Sharif. I'm not sure. If we do, then we're in this position. We're not in it overly too large, but I mean, if we break that 154 level, we might be able to pull back a little bit. So I'll look for something around 154. And if we get that, then we're money, right? So, but other than that, we're not going to hold on to too many things here. We have our definitive out as always. We know when we're getting into the trade, where we want to be, where we want to get out, what our profit targets are. So make sure, guys, when you are entering your trade, the same with Sharif, Katina Man, Neil, these guys know where they're going to get out of a trade before they even enter it. So make sure you guys have your stops in place. Make sure you guys are following your playbook. Don't just chase it, kind of unlike I kind of did here, but that's okay. We're not overly chased. We're not overly extended. The day hasn't been horrible, so we're going to look to continue, and hopefully that BA can move to the top side. I mean, the Qs,
okay.
it's all Neil knows, so it's it. Ooh.
No, we're talking about soccer, Neil. Real sport over here. No, seriously. Yeah, so we're gonna go to Adara at the big desk. She's got some for us. What do you got for us, Adara?
Yeah, we did have a nice little pushback in the market here. Right now, we have a bit of a doge candle here, of candle of indecision on the S&P 500, down about 1%. But basically, this bounce kind of inspired as we have the Israeli military saying that it's now permitted to leave protected spaces. They've assessed the situation. Also, actually reopening their airspace takeoffs. With takeoffs and landings to resume within the coming hour, according to their Israeli Airport Authority. Then, though, right after this, about a minute ago now, we do have Iran State TV saying that 80% of their missiles launched at Israel hit target. So again, there's just some updates coming out here from Israel and Iran. Iran looking to reopen their airspace and saying that it's now safely protected spaces. Iran providing an update on their targets here, guys.
That man is a joker, bro. Killing me. All right. I'm not going to repeat what he said, obviously, but that's the look there. Joe, you were dropping hotlines. Go ahead.
We were just talking about Boeing here, so we're going to see what Boeing's happening. We just got a dark pool here, unfortunately, so we're going to get rid of this dark pool wick here. But so that's okay. We'll see what we're going to look for here. Pull up our thing, and boom, and we're back, and we're slowly crawling higher. I'm thinking that we bottomed a little bit here, and if we can squeeze a little bit higher, 135, 80s, then maybe we look to take a little bit off the top. But I really like this bottom here, so that's why I'm long in this stock. We had a catalyst that absolutely skyrocketed this thing, so we're gonna continue to join the trend, right? Even though it pulled back, we packed our patience, we held our horses, and now we're looking to join again. So if we can take that second leg, even cover half the ground there, that would be absolutely beautiful, Sharif.
Fantastic, Joe. Good look there for you. I hope print up multiple storms. It looks certainly like it's putting in higher lows and curling possibly back into that 154. Hope you print on that, brother. No question about it. We're involved in INDO and HUSA. We're flat on both of them. Literally 1 penny in the money on Indo, flat on HUSA. I did like initially the buy at that level on HUSA. It's holding up, but now I kind of feel like we may be in the situation where we're going to put in lower highs. So initially I was looking at the higher lows with this trend line breaking, but now we're consolidating. In fact, if I could make the argument, we're putting in lower highs now for about 15 minutes. So we'll see if this level wants to hold on. Who said the reason it's still in place because above VWAP, right? And it's a small cap gapper, and that's the look with respect to some of those names. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. On HUSA, let's flip back over here to see what INDO is doing. Not a whole lot there. In case you're wondering why I'm in Indo, it's an energy play, right? Energy plays are in vogue today because of what's happening in the Middle East. So that's why we're involved in it right now. So that is a look. Let's flip to some big caps. We haven't looked at these big caps in a hot minute. At least I haven't. Okay, Amazon just got into an obvious area of resistance. Likewise with Meta. Meta's at VWAP. Meta's rejected VWAP 4 times today. Once, twice, thrice. I don't know what 4 times is. Whatever. There it is there. And now look at the level that we're talking about on Amazon, this general 185 level. Look at the topping tail that just got put on this 5-minute candle at 145. Bit of a tougher look there. So this could be an interesting range off which to play. And look at this. We're using these levels today, the pre-market consolidation area low, acting as resistance to the high side. The same thing holds true for the low side here. We're kind of holding these bottom area tops from the earlier trading day. So Meta at resistance, Amazon at resistance. Interesting look, possibly topping tail candle as well as Google. I think you mentioned that. Weren't you saying that? Or was it somebody else?
I was bigging up Katina Man. He was
bigging up Katina Man. Yeah, topping tail candle through the VWAP right there on Google as well. So it's not just Amazon and Meta that are doing that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Oh my God, we're in the money. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything about that, right? Yeah, we'll see about this one. INDO looking to curl back up. What's this one doing? Oh wow, we're in the money on this one too. Wow. Okay.
Hey, so there you go.
We're 3 pennies in the money.
You're not like my hockey team anymore. 0 for 3.
Oh, is that how you guys started the season?
Oh no, I caught a lot of heat from that last time. We were 1-1. I apologize to the boys, but
you got it wrong. Okay,
I got it wrong. I caught some heat on that one. We're 1-2 now, actually, so that's okay. But Yeah, Shreve.
What
Sorry,
position do you play, bro?
I play right wing.
Right wing
I'm a
attack,
winger.
right?
Yeah,
Love it. Love it.
right winger. Yeah.
Forward, baby.
That's
Okay,
it.
okay. You guys play a certain type of way?
We lose. Is that right? We lose. That's our type of way. We were up
Joker,
2-0 going into the second. The boys lost 5-2. All right, so that's what we do. We sound a little bit like the Leafs there, but hey, you never know. You never know. Oh, sorry, I got one good question here, or statement here in the chat, Sharif. SMCI, Will Moon. Okay, I have 5,000 shares and a few options long. What do you guys think? Hey, I mean, that's a hefty position you got on there. 5,000 shares and some contracts. I mean, that's a little bit of a heft.
That's big.
That's a big one.
That's big.
It's a big baller. Do we have? Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say we don't have a ball in thing there, but we would have put that. Hey, maybe sell some calls against the two on that position. Collect some premium while you hold on to those long shares. Absolutely.
That's a fantastic look. Look, personally, SMCI, look, they're obviously a good AI play. There's others. There's Dell. There's HP. I think there is some other server plays. That's specifically what they're doing. They're building out these AI servers, the cooling systems, the software, the maintenance, the upkeep. That's what SMCI is offering you. However, sounds like a fantastic play. You have to understand that there was a hit piece by Hindenburg on SMCI alleging accounting irregularities. As a result of that, the Department of Justice has now initiated an investigation into Supermicro Computer. The results of that investigation obviously are not out. No. So we don't know what the Department of Justice has found. In any event, you just should know that before you get into it. Right? I think that's due diligence.
I mean,
right?
Anytime the DOJ puts a probe into you, then watch out. Absolutely.
Certainly.
Sure.
Certainly, yeah. And the thing is, I'm not trying to vouch for the veracity of the report or anything like that. It's just good to know. Now, there's some other plays, right? HP, Dell. You had Michael Dell at the Nvidia event, first row. Jensen's been courting him, right? We know that Jensen's been courting Michael Dell. I mean, it's just the way it is. I don't know if he's been courting the CEO of SMCI. Maybe he has. I'm not really exactly sure. I remember the individual's name because of the investigation. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I haven't heard too much about them. So, yeah, look at some other players, but I hope you print up multiple storms on SMCI. I never want you to lose money. So I hope you do well. Let me know how it goes, certainly. And Joe's got you there for the option strategies anytime you need that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yo, this bud's for you. Keep your head on a swivel. Oh, whoa, okay, okay.
What happened?
We don't come down the middle with our heads down, that's for sure. We always like
the Hansen bros.
Yeah, we like to keep, the Hansen bros. Yeah, those are some tough cookies, absolutely. So, yeah, Sharif, how's your Boeing looking out? I know you were in the money there.
No, bro, I was gone. I got
you're out. We're out. He's out. Okay,
for a hot minute.
Okay.
It's ranging now.
It's ranging,
yeah. Range there.
That volatility is a little bit phased out now, I think.
No question.
At this point. So, yeah, guys, we don't got much time left. So if you want me to answer any of your options questions before the end of the day, make sure you throw them in the chat. Oh, JP.
Oh, wow.
Spin
JP's
move.
going hard to the hole.
Spin move at the rim. Oh, okay, hold on. Whoa.
We're busy.
He said he wants to deal with you on the court.
Oh, but he's on the rink, so he's gonna have to figure out which way he wants to go.
Hey, I'll play JP one-on-one for a 25 basis point cut next meeting. All right?
Yes,
So me, JP one-on-one for 25 basis points. All right?
I love it, dude. I love it. That's jokes. Yeah, Joe wins. You got to cut 50.
You got to cut 50.
You got to cut 50. We need that.
Some stimmy.
Mashworth, Joey, are you having a great day? I think Joe's having a fantastic day, but I'll let him speak for himself, baby.
Absolutely.
Joseph, do you ever trade 0 DTE?
Great question, and I answered this a couple times. I am not one to dabble in the 0 DTE world. I've attempted it, and I've built sample sets on trading DTE. The risk tolerance wasn't mine, and that's one thing about options. Find your risk tolerance, find what you're comfortable in. Even though you do want to get a little uncomfortable at times, right, to just continue to grow, you got to get uncomfortable to grow.
True, bro.
But 0 DTE, it's not for me. The volatility is actually insane. It's a party when you're trading 0 DTE. It's feast or famine, so that is just not something I'm into.
Very interesting. Very interesting. You hear about like a lot of the volume that takes place on a lot of these names. The great majority of it, what I'm hearing, is market makers having to cover or buy, take the other side of the position
trade,
on this because of the 0 DTE, which is crazy that the great majority is, short-dated options. That's new, I think,
that's
for the market.
Yeah, it's
right?
really new for the market, and they're just absolutely exploding, right? People want that money and they want it real quick. So if you're looking for a vehicle, then the 0DT is absolutely for you. So again, find your risk tolerance. If you like 0DTE, then by all means, swing the bat, take those trades, do what you want to do with those 0DT, but just be aware of the volatility onslaught, and you have theta working against you, right? Time is not in your favor. Those no longer have any extrinsic value, which we'll be learning on Thursday. So again, just watch out, keep your risk parameters, put your stops in. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
All right, we got to, I believe, 81s here on Indo. I'm sitting at 82s looking for that print, but you know, that latest ascent, let's call it a VWAP hold ascent, finding a bit of a sell or a sell wall right there, even though it was able to breach 80s, 81s, again, the line in the sand, and now selling back into 79s, now 78. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that one to see if it continues to bleed or it's going to reascend. I'm break even on HUSA right now. It's literally at my entry. You know, this is obviously not a big play, but keeping an eye. Oh, Boeing broke.
Oh, let's go.
Boeing is on the way up. So 153.50 did break, not by a lot. It's curling off the volume weighted average price, finally taking out that level. It had been holding below the 50 penny level for a hot minute, which is basically where I was waiting to get in, to exit on Boeing on my position. Finally breaks, now weaseling into that 20 exponential moving average. I believe it did get up into 75s, obviously. We still have that 154 I would submit to you with which to contend. We initially had resistance at 154 from 11 until we took it at 11:35. Then when we got down over here and started breaking down below 155, we did hold 154 as a momentary level of support. Now we are working back into that level again. Higher lows, higher highs now for 20 minutes, 4 consecutive 5-minute candles, all of which have put in higher lows and higher highs. So I've learned my lesson with Boeing in the sense that you really need to be committed to this trade. It's not going to give you the response right away. And I remember this last time for my trade on Boeing. It did this to me again, or last time as well. You're going to have to give this room. You're going to have to pack your patience with respect to your profit takers because it just doesn't give it to you quick as you like, or maybe not in my case anyway. So that's what I'm looking at there. Keeping my eye on this HUSA that I just got the dip trade at the volume weighted average price. It is still holding up at that level, but I need to be careful with this one because it was a bottoming tail candle, but it did get bought up quick as you like. So what's my average on it? 38. Okay, not too bad. We're printing 37s. That's okay. I can handle that for now, but we got 1 minute left on the show, Joe. Any final thoughts you want to leave the viewers with?
Hey, you know what? We're still in this BA trade. It started to work a little bit, so we took off the top. I mean, time flies here. We have 1 minute left. Time flies when you're having fun, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So we're glad that all you guys could show up. Make sure you guys show up on Thursday. Introduction to options. I'm going to sound like a broken record because you won't see me until Thursday, but I will be here, and we were going to start from the very beginning with options. So we're in this little last bit of BA, and that's it, guys. We appreciate you guys so much, and thanks for everyone.
Absolutely, guys. All right, we're going to send you over to the Katina Man and Neil in a hot second. It's not quite ready yet. Just want to remind you, tomorrow we're going to have Satya on. So if you want to talk some crypto and you want to talk some technical, Satya is your girl. So make sure to join us. We're going to have Joe Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Satya is going to be filling this seat Wednesday, Friday. I like that, Fabian. Thank you for the rhythm there. But it is now, and then you got
we always got to get there.
It is now time to send you over to the big kahunas. They're locked, they're loaded, they're ready to go. Take it over, gents.
I'm actually